It is a matter of great pleasure for me to welcome you all for our webinar on Transformative Changes in Education, which is being held on the eve of Teachers' Day in Malaysia. This webinar is a part of UNESCO's movement towards education for sustainable development, education for health and well-being, and global citizenship education. It is organized by International Council for Education, Research and Training. Now let me brief you about ICRT. International Council for Education, Research and Training is an autonomous, non-government, leading scientific and professional research and training organization with offices located in Washington, D.C., California, Sydney, New Delhi, and other countries. With several educators, researchers, consultants, and students as members, ICRT not only develops educational training programs, but also manages institutes and promotes research and training in education globally. This is an institution of learning and training, facilitating education, research, and social welfare initiatives. With the motto, Knowledge, Wisdom, and Prosperity, ICERT is working with the mission to promote the advancement and application of scientific researches and knowledge to benefit society. Today, in our webinar, we have participants from Malaysia, Nigeria, Philippines, India, Oman, Libya, Pakistan, Moldova, Albania, Ghana, Bangladesh, Thailand, Morocco, Kazakhstan, Indonesia, Algeria, Cambodia, California, Vietnam, United Arabs, Uzbekistan, Romania, Ethiopia, Kuwait, Afghanistan, South Africa, Brahmin, Canada, Kenya, Iraq, Saudi Arabia, Hungary, Sri Lanka, US. Oh my God, such an overwhelming response for our webinar. So today, we will have 3 sessions in today's webinar. First is Global Trends in Education in Endemic Era, New Directions in Interdisciplinary Education, NLP-based mind methodology, and teaching learning. So let me quickly give you a little overview of instructions for the participants. Webinar duration is of 2.5 hours plus minus 15 minutes. Please follow the digital ethics and keep your mic off. Don't write unnecessary messages in chat box. There is no attendance link. As attendance is automatically recorded, all candidates who will attend for at least 75% of time duration will get the certificate of participation. They must participate in the survey that will be displayed at the end of the program, but this feedback is not connected with the attendance of the webinar. There is total 3 sessions in today's program. If you have any question for honorable resource persons and speakers, you could raise your hand on request to unmute. We will unmute you or write your question in the chat box. Question answer session will be conducted toward the end of the session by Dr. Navneet Kaur. All the speakers are requested to present till the end. Attendance and participation certificates will be issued in 10 days after the program. Please don't write emails to ICERT before 10 days. For forthcoming programs, please visit our official website. Now, I would like to welcome Dr. Navneet Kaur, the Executive Director, Education ICRT, who is the chief patron of the program. She is the main binding force behind this endeavor. I welcome you on the board, ma'am. Ma'am, please unmute yourself. We are unable to hear you. Thank you.
Thank you, Dilpreet. A great start by you.
Thank you,
Greetings to all. We all have gathered today to celebrate the joyful Teachers' Day and to thank and praise them for their dedication and hard work for transformative changes in education. Teachers pass on knowledge with the hope that all students will achieve good career and success in life. We, the team ICERT, is grateful and indebted to all the teachers present on this platform. From the bottom of our hearts, we would like to appreciate all your hard work and efforts to make believe in ourselves. From the heart of the student, all dear teachers, you have pitched us values that make us realize that we are walking in the directed path towards our future. Beautifully quoted by Joyce, teachers can change life with just the right mix of chalk and challenge. Team ICRT is dedicatedly engaged in research, training, learning, campaigning, and serving as a significant advisory resource globally to all educational organizations, institutions, and agencies, where the sole aim is to promote the educator and quality education. Today, I want to congratulate all the participants from more than, I think, 35 countries to explore and evolve. Dilpreet has taken all the names, amazing participation. This is really great, I think, Eve, for ICERT that we are so connected and binded together through this technology. So thanks to technology also. Today, the fundamental global objective of all education, aspiring not only to progress, but to the survival of humanity, is to civilize and unify the earth and transform the human species into genuine humanity. The education of the future should teach an ethics of planetary understanding. That is why the name is given over here, transformation. That is very, very important. When teacher becomes a facilitator, there is a transformation. And today we have with us three great personalities as the resource persons who have remarkably excelled in their fields and have become the torch bearers to many. I welcome Professor Dr. Koska Yagaparaj, Professor at Putra International College, Malaysia, and Trine University, USA. We welcome you, sir. We have with us Ms. Anamika, Administrator cum Counselor at GD Goyanka Bahadurgarh, which is also Mrs. India at 2019. It is a pleasure to have you, ma'am. Dr. A. Ibrahim, MT, Master Practitioner in NLP, Life Coach, Mentor at Mind Masters Trivandrum. We are so glad to have you, sir, and waiting for your session. I'm sure in today's discussions, ideas and reflections will enlighten us and will shape our thinking abilities. I will request all the speakers to be present at the end of the webinar for the question hour. In between also, if any participants have any query, any question, please write in chat box. And the speaker, worthy speaker, can give answers there also. But at the end, we will have open question hour. Thank you. And with this note, we are going to start, and I'll hand over to the beautiful anchor of the day, moderator of the day, Dilpreet Kaur.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. Now I would like to introduce our guest of honor and keynote speaker, Professor Dr. Koska Yagaparaj. Dr. Koska Yagaparaj is professor at Putra International College, Malaysia, Trine University, USA. He is a research supervisor, trainer, and consultant. His area of specialization is performance management, OB in HR, and has special interest in accounting and finance. He has research experience, very rich research experience, and has completed his doctorate on performance management in 2012 from Kamaraj University, Madurai. Also, he has accredited MPhil, B.Ed, MCom to his name. He has numerous research publications that are UGC Care List approved and authored many books of national and international repute. His academic capabilities include human resource management, performance management, strategic management, change management, entrepreneurship, business accounting and finance, research methodology, contemporary leadership, marketing. Dr. Yagaparaj is an active member on various editorial boards and also on professional and academic organizations. To name a few, he is editorial board member of Journal of Enterprise Business Management, AEIC Annual Academic Committee member, member of Exxon Consultancy, AEIC Annual Academic Committee member, member of Management Institute of Malaysia, member of Curriculum Framing Core Committee for Schools in Jharkhand. Dr. Yagaparaj has won prestigious awards, medals, and honors for recognition of his research. To name a few, he has won National Paryavaran Award, Best Teacher Award in 2010 by Dainik Jagran, Award for the Best Academic Results in 2009 and 10, Expert Reviewer Award by Academic Exchange Information Center, China. He has also been PhD External Supervisor, External Advisor for MBA, Project Supervisor in MBA, Research Supervisor for Executive DBA. He has been keynote speaker, chairperson, guest lecturer, guest of honor, chief guest in various international and national conferences, seminars, and webinars. He has delivered several training sessions on leadership, teaching pedagogy, change management, staff management. He has also been into course content development for masters, DBA, PhD, and high schools in Jharkhand. Throwing light to his academic responsibilities, he has also been head of department, Loyola College, Chhattisgarh, business school coordinator for 6 branches, and program leader for accounting and finance and postgraduate business schools. He is motivated academician, driven to inspire students and teachers to pursue academic and personal excellence, and consistently striving to create an engaging learning environment. Today, Sir will enlighten us with a session on global trends in education in the endemic era. Sir, I welcome you in this international webinar, and we are honored to share some knowledge from you. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Dilpreet Gaur. Thanks to Dr. Sandeep Kumar. Thanks to Dr. Navaneet Kaur and the team for organizing and providing me this opportunity to share my views on education. I'm really honored to be part of this international forum. Many such experiences I had, and this is going to be one of the unique one because I am addressing India directly, my home country. I am here in Malaysia from 2014. Until then, I was in India, both South India and North India. India is a mini world, different culture, different food, different climate, different languages. And today I am here to share my views on education with my experience. Whatever I share, it's my view, and we being academicians, I expect that we discuss and equip ourselves as we celebrate the Teachers' Day in Malaysia tomorrow. The only purpose for us to come together is to equip ourselves how we can do in a better way. So that's my only purpose of sharing my views. To start with, after this introduction and the Thanksgiving note to the team, especially to Dr. Sandeep Kumar, who contacted me very recently, and we had a phone conversation. Okay, let me start. I would like to start like this. Past is an experience, present is an experiment, future is an expectation. Past is an experience, present is an experiment, future is an expectation. So, we all use our past experiences in our present experiment so that we achieve the future, what we had dreamt of in the past. So my sum and summary of my sharing for half an hour and later on the question sessions, if there is to based on this past, present, and future. Thinking of the past, my own education, our own education, I think in this group, most of them will be above 50, I presume. I take it for granted. There will be youngsters, juniors, and of course they should be there. They should be there on the board. By above 50, deciding for the future of the rest is not going to help in any way. So these are all some of the presumptions that I have. Number one, education, is it a means or an end? Education, is it commercial or is it a service industry? Okay, education is something wholesome or a piece, a kind of skill? Is education is one piece of skill or the totality? We are human beings endowed with body, mind, and soul. When it comes to mind and heart, everybody will accept body, mind. When it comes to soul, we have our own religious background to give us a thrust to it. Education is focusing mostly, I put it in quotes, mostly on the minds, preparing the minds for the future. Okay, so this was and this is considered as education for all of us or most of us. Some may differ in their opinions. We are here to discuss on that, to equip ourselves. So when I say human beings endowed with body, mind, and soul, education feeds only to the mind. The so-called education has been feeding only the mind. Now, to recall back the Indian nature of education in the past was not feeding the mind. It is of somebody else's philosophy, somebody else's ideology. Indian education, it was catering to body, mind, and soul, the Guru Shishya Parampara. Okay. By sharing this, I'm not here to point out anybody. It is for us to reflect as educationists. I'm also part of it. Okay, what we have gone through in the past, what we are struggling now in this endemic era, the sudden change after 90s, the sudden change took place in the 90s, globalization, liberalization, and now we are awakened. We just woke up with the pandemic, and we are trying to give meaning to education for our existence, for our lives with body, mind, and soul. And education, hey, education, are you a means for our lives, or education is an end to us as human beings? Education, is it only obtaining a degree? From the student's perspective, education is something that is given as a product in a manufacturing sector to the student. Hey, this is the full product of your degree course. You are supposed to learn this structure, curriculum, and once you come out and perform well, you are branded. But for of what use? Is it going to gain any benefit in life? Is it going to provide you something for your future? Or is it catering to your future to achieve your future dreams, or the past dreams to achieve it in the future? So these are all some of the struggles, thoughts that goes on within me, and I raise these issues in this academic forum whenever I get an opportunity. I don't have an answer, and I don't expect a yes or no answer. And we have our own position. Let's agree to disagree, but we express our mindset in this academic forum, educational forum, as educated human beings with body, mind, and soul. Coming to this pandemic and endemic, this has really shaken all of us. Those who are on the top, being an educator, being a student, being a stakeholder in education, those who are in the top layer, the 25% of the top layer, they have survived in this pandemic. The bottom 25% have vanished, and the middle 50% are struggling. And I would like to put myself in the middle 50%, people who are struggling. As educationists, we are trying to find a way for our future, for our lives, to give meaning to our lives. And this meaning we would like to impart to everybody, say students, say our stakeholders, say whomever we are interacting with as human beings, as mature intellectuals with body, mind, and soul. So in this endemic, we are shaken, and then that's not the end for us. That's not the end. Pandemic and the endemic is not end for us, because most of us fall under 50, middle 50%. The top one, we don't have to take care. They know, they are already an entrepreneur. Dr. Abraham will agree with me. Okay, they know how to survive, and they have their mindset with many possibilities. The bottom one, they have lost their way, and our focus is to address to them and to give our helping hand to them. And we ourselves are struggling as educators in this pandemic. The one such that comes to the mind to everybody will be online mode. How we struggled last 2 years to cope up with online. Years back, if you bring a mobile phone to the school or college, you are fined. I have also charged fine 500 rupees. When I was school principal in India, I used to charge 500 rupees. That's about 20 years before. Okay, 18, 20 years before. And today, we charge fine if someone doesn't bring a mobile phone. So we are completely turned upside down. Our mindset has to be have a complete upside down change is required. Are we prepared as educationists? Are we prepared as educationists for the long run? To me, I was not prepared for the long run. So I had to face about 20 years before a lot of things, and then I picked up again. Now again I am picking up. Okay, so this my life as an educationist, as a student, as an individual has been up and down, up and down. And this is going to be the trend, and this is the reality. This is the reality. You may call philosophically one name, you may call religiously one name, you may call intellectually, you can give a jarring word. But the trend is the wave, the sea waves. Nothing is permanent in this world. Okay, even change has to take place. Even the word change, the change in itself intrinsically has to go through a change eventually. So when we look at these perspective of through looking to the education, I would like to categorize in two ways. One is from the educator's perspective. When I say educator, it is the owner of the business, it is the teachers, it is the institution, and another one is the students and the parents. Okay, two major categories I would like to, for convenience sake, divide. Now, in this after pandemic, both the groups are struggling. Those who are having big university, they are struggling. Those who are studying, they are struggling. And the external stakeholders, they are also struggling to find the right candidate for their job. Now, where do we go wrong? When did we go wrong? That's the wrong question to ask. Okay, past is gone. Okay, we are in the present experiment. So if we ask the wrong question to the right people in the right time, it is not going to lead us anywhere. Now, what questions to be asked? From this, how can we move on? What strategies? What, knowing the trends, how one can equip as a owner of a business, as students, as parents, how we can move should be the question. And this question is painful because it is going to touch our very core philosophy as human beings endowed with body, mind, and soul. It is going to touch our soul. It is going to touch our mind. It is going to touch our body, because there has to be a upside down change is required. And we are in that period, crucial period. Maybe some have found their way, and some are experimenting their way, and some are lost in this way. Okay, in education. So to me, education is not an end, it is a means. Education is not an end, as a means. I would like to look at education as a means. So when it comes to a means, education is a means, it will change. It is not a dead end. It is not a final product. So education is lifelong. Whoever is thinking that if I get a degree, I'll get a job. If I get this skill, I will get this one. They are going to be lost because they think the bottom 25% of the people, and they were already lost. And if we are in the middle 50% category, if we have that mindset, and it is the time for us to reflect together collectively and move on to that above 25%. That is, we need to look at education as a means. Now, when it comes to means, we have now a lot of means to study, to learn, to equip ourselves, to learn the skills. YouTube gives a lot of skills. Okay, we are thrown into the world of knowledge. In the past, when I was a student, I used to go to different teachers for tuition. I remember some teachers used to instill on me content knowledge. You must study this, you must study this, memorize, rote memory, then you get good mark. Some teachers used to touch the lives of the students. So some teachers have touched my lives. They used to insist on the methodology. Okay, as the Chinese proverb goes, we don't give you fish, we teach you how to fish so that you can continue to have fish every day. Sorry for using the word fish. There may be some vegetarians here, some people, but it is only for intellectual purpose, for understanding a concept. Okay. Now, what I picked up in the past was certain content. What I neglected was the methodology. There was a time moving on from the past, when I came to live my present life, it shook me. Wait, yes, I have degrees. Yes, I have 7 degrees, useless degrees. But now all those degrees are available in the internet. Mr. Google will give all the degrees. Now it doesn't serve my purpose. So there was a time in the past when I realized methodology was important. Once you get that methodology, be it in life as a family person, be it a driver, once you get the methodology, you know where you can fit yourself into to find meaning for your life. So methodology was lacking in me. Okay. And then once I get that methodology, already I had that content. Now I developed the methodology. I pick up that methodology, put them together. That gives me meaning in life. That took about the age of 50, you know. At the age of 50 only, I can confidently say this, that I have certain content knowledge of the past degree certificates, and I have developed my own methodology, which I have learned from some teachers. Yes, some teachers, they did stress on the methodology, which I have failed as an individual, but I also have learned from some teachers. Okay, so this is me, and I'm sure many of us will fit into this category. You may fit into the methodology category, you may fit into the content category, whatever category it is fast. Now that to move forward, we need to have this combining of these two. Why I am categorizing the method and the content. Now content is available to everybody. The thing that I am sharing is all from the internet, but then it has gone through my process, my soul, my mind, my body, and it comes out in a unique way. I am not giving anything new, but I am giving it in a new, different way. That much I can be satisfied for myself. Now, as educationists, I think we need to focus on that. When it comes to this methodology and content, we are now driven to the online mode, Internet of Things, technology. Technology is a means, and we are thinking that technology is everything online. I have developed courses and put it in the internet, in the website, and my student learns and passes out. For me, it is only I get my salary. I get my salary for what I have done. I have not taught my students, but they get graduated and then go. What they have learned is the content knowledge. They are missing the human aspect, the soul, the body, the mind, which is blended together. We cannot separate these three things. It is only in that when we depart, when we die, when we end our life, we say it is a dead body. Until then, it's a mixture. Nobody can segregate this is 33%, this is 33.3333. No, cannot. So as education is, it's a time for us to ask the second question. Education, is it a commercial industry or a service industry? When I say, I would like to stress on service industry by saying that I am not here to say that I am giving a free service. No, I need money. I need money to eat. Okay. There is a lot of difference between commercial industry, which is only pure profit, and when you come to service industry, like hospitals, they do charges and we do pay doctors. Okay, they need money, but they do service, nurses, they do service, teachers, we are supposed to be. Okay, we want to be in the service industry. At least I want to be in the service industry. I don't want to be in the commercial industry. But now, given the situation, where do I make a balance? How do I strike the balance to come together? Do I go towards the service industry? Do I go to commercial industry? If I go to service industry, I may be out of the scene soon. I may be out of the scene. If I go to the commercial industry, definitely I will also be out of the scene, because education is not producing. It is not like industry 1, industry 2, industry 3, industry 4, and industry 5 now is coming up. 4 we are still struggling to maintain, and we are going to 5, and education cannot be put into that. But education can be used, or industry 4, 5 can be used, the education as a means. For me, education is a means, it's not an end. And therefore, all this industry 4, the development, transformation, transition, all need to have a blend of things. Okay, the blend of things. Why some of the universities are closed in the pandemic? Why some of the small schools are flourishing? The middle level, they are still struggling whether we are doing the right thing or the wrong thing. The ones they were in the commercial, they are surviving. The ones, those who are in the service industry, focusing on the service industry, they are struggling. But their struggle will give them meaning in life. It will be sad if they lost the way and deviated. It will be a sad story. It should not be. I don't wish that. But the service industry need to come back as a Guru Sishya Parambara. Online is only a means. It is not the end. If I go for an online sort of education, purely online sort of education, we are missing something. The next generation is going to be totally different. If we think of our grandparents, our parents, and ours and our children, we will be able to understand how this transition takes place, and there is a need to have a blend of things. To be on the safer side, I take the middle path. Okay, that is the survival game. But that gives me a meaning. When I say it is a survival game, it gives me a meaning, because taking the two extreme, we are negating the others. We are negating the others. We are inclusive people. We are inclusive people. We are not there to segregate anything. Okay. So coming back to the point of education as a commercial and education as a service industry, I think we need to give a thought to it after in this endemic period. In this endemic period, I don't have a proper solution to that, and we need to collectively think about it. Because to me, there was a time we were having this education, teaching, learning as an ongoing, lifelong, and then somehow we have picked up and mixed up with the commercial aspect of education. Commercial. Somebody is raising the hand. If you have any questions, you can stop me, no problem. I don't have a syllabus to complete. We can have a fruitful sharing and caring session, which will move us forward. Yes, sir. Any question? Okay, I think it was misfiring. It's okay. So, service industry and commercial industry is to be given a thought. I'm not negating or I'm not belittling the online forum. Online, I think the next person is going to talk about new direction, interdisciplinary is coming up. But I think online nobody's talking. But we can think of, people can raise issues on online. But I would like to think of talking, sharing my views as a service industry. Tomorrow is Teacher's Day. Which teacher we will remember in our life? I have studied in 7 universities. Okay, 7 degrees, 7 different universities. Which university I remember? Which teacher I remember? Which event I remember? I will remember 2 things. One where I had some extreme negativity, extreme bad thing where I was punished, beaten up. And I will also remember where I was pushed, where I was helped to move forward. I was telling the beginning, I remember some teachers focusing on content. Some teachers were focusing on methodology. I gratefully remember these 2 because they imparted a part of it. Their job was, we as teachers, we are teaching a particular part. That doesn't mean that you can pick up this part 100% online. Yes, online can give you maybe 50% according to me. Okay, 50% online can give you, but there should be another 50% the human nature, because we are endowed with body, mind, and soul. We are not machines to learn. Otherwise, we can fix another machine that can learn and perform the activities. Then what are we here for on this earth? We are here to bring changes in our lives and in the lives that comes after us, the generations that comes after us. I'm sure all of us will agree to me on this point. So now coming to online part. Online part, the technology definitely enables. Today we are talking like this. I would like to share. I am here today in Malaysia. It is because one of my degrees is a distance mode, and I am now in distance mode sharing my views. Okay, there was a time in India, distance mode was only for degree sake, not for anything else. And to me now, these online degrees are going to be like that. But India has changed. India has developed. India has adopted to the change. The new educational policy, the new UGC policies is not no more of the 30 years before, 20 years before. There is a lot of openness and changes they are adopting as educationists. So what I want to say is, as educationists, we are aware, we are open, we are discussing. Now, where do we go wrong? How do we go wrong? When do we go wrong? Yes, some of the questions that I now asked are wrong questions in the right platform. Now, what questions to ask? How we can move? from our past experiences, of our individual experiences. And these individual experiences are not like YouTube skills that we learn in the YouTube single. It has to be connected, networking. And in that way, networking, the technology has played a very great role. Technology as a means has brought us together, has enabled us and provided us a platform, an environment for us to put things together. And if we are looking to that, networking, collaborating, okay, putting things together, internet, network of things, technology is perfectly all right. But that is not the end. That only takes care of the mind part of it. That only takes care of the uh, mind part of it. What happens to our body and soul? Where do we take care of our soul, inner being, outer being? Okay, how do we take care? Do we find satisfaction in life as human beings after getting all the degrees, all the content part of it? I'm not sure. I don't think we will be. We may be intelligent, intellectual monster, but we cannot relate to with others as human beings at the same wavelength. The wavelength of people who have got degrees, who do not have degrees, who are literate, who are illiterate, all these are varies. We may give different perspective, different meaning. But all these are to be put together on this planet Earth. Yes. Can you hear me? What happened?
Yes, sir, we can hear you. It's perfectly fine. It's perfectly fine.
Okay. Thank you. They can hear. Yes. Okay. Where did I get lost? Internet, the technology, how technology is enabling us as a means. Okay. As a means, how we were in the past without technology, it was hard to coordinate. Now, I think within a week, Dr. Sanjay Kumar coordinated this thing. He must have planned 1 month before, 3 months before. But the execution part was very fast because of the Internet of Things. It's a means, but this is not the end. This is not the end. This is only a trailer preview for us as we listen to each other. It has to go back after our webinar, after 8:30 Malaysian time, 8:30 Indian time, 6 o'clock. It has to continue. It has to vibrate, and then the webinar must have gone, but still the song will be lingering around the ears, mind, body, and soul. And therefore, my dear participants, what to take away from here? I shared in the beginning, past is an experience, present is an experiment, future is an expectation. So use all your past experience in your present experiment to achieve your future expectations. Now, my basic question remains, education is it an end or a means? To me, it is a means, and it's a lifelong means. It may change a little bit. It may develop, expand, grow, but it never stops. It never stops. By the way, I'm still a student. I'm learning one more thing. 3 years project. In another 3 years, or if not 5 years, I will achieve that. So learning is lifelong. So education, when we say education, it is teaching and learning. It involves teaching and learning, but of course not negating the environment, the political environment where we are living, the external outer world. Okay, so for me, education is a means. Secondly, what the question I raised is it a commercial or is it a service industry? We need to move from commercial to service industry. This is my experience. dealing with many students, many universities, many board. And now how do we come out of this change? Because we are not producing cars, we are not producing students for a particular job. If a student here is here to study a degree, and after the degree you are going to get a job, sorry, this is not the platform for you, for us. I am not here to propagate that. That one degree that we acquire is definitely going to enable you to operate in a little different way. That's it. That's what we must expect. It is not going to be a final product. When we say final year, final project, that's not the end of everything. That's not the end of everything. That's not education is supposed to feed to the students. It is not feeding the birds and animals with food or with shelter. Education is supposed to ignite the minds. So in this context, we need to move on to an entrepreneur. Now, when I heard the word entrepreneur years back, it was a baffling word. Oh my God, how can I be an entrepreneur? What is an entrepreneur? To be an entrepreneur, I need to have this, I need to have this, I don't have all. No. We are entrepreneur in our own very life. How we manage our life effectively. If we have reached until this phase, until this time, that means we have been an entrepreneurs in our life. Now, how much the degree varies. And from there, where we want to take ourselves, it is up to us. The decision is ours. I think with this, I end up. I have given my thoughts. If you have any questions, I will love to answer, share. Again, I am not a content expert here to address a group. I am not a methodology expert. I am a blend of both. Okay, I will share what I feel, what I think. Let us agree to disagree. Thank you. I would love to have one or two questions. You may also share, answer the questions that I raised. Education, is it a means or an end? Education, is it to be a commercial one or a service industry?
Yes, Mr. PVR Prasad, you can unmute. Yeah, you can ask your question.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Almost all the teachers who are teaching, look their children to teach them in a service manner.
Pardon me?
Service manner only.
Okay.
I think commercialization maybe recently entered in private sector, sir.
Okay.
I think government teachers and government teaching staff, they may not have commercialized ideas, I think.
Okay.
Am I right, sir?
Okay, you are right.
Yeah. For that only, I would like to get clarification from you.
Doctor, you are from India?
India, I am from India, Andhra Pradesh, Ongole.
Thank you. Well, if you come to, in India, the government staff, government teachers take more salary, but they don't teach, okay? The private teachers teach a lot, slog a lot, but get less salary. This was the idea, okay? This was the idea, and still it is the idea in my mind. I may be wrong. Okay. Now, when you come to other countries like Malaysia, here public universities are good. They are paid well and they do their job well. They teach well. They maintain the record well. In India, I was in the private sector in India, private school. We teach well. I was teaching well and I was telling my teachers to teach well because my PhD is performance management of the staff, school teachers. We teach well, but we were poor in record. Okay. When it comes to Malaysia, public universities, that is government universities, are much better. Private universities Private universities, yes, they do their job. They want to do a lot of things, and somehow along the way, they don't get the output of it. They don't get the output of it. When you say, uh, uh, did you get my mind, what I'm trying to explain, Dr. Prasad?
Sir, I already worked as a private teacher also for several years.
Okay.
Even at that time also, I taught them only with service motto only.
Oh, very good. Great.
See,
Yes,
I worked as a social studies teacher for more than 20 years, even in private sector.
Definitely, I also have experiences. People, the government teachers. I'm not saying all the teachers are bad. All the teachers, they don't teach. No,
yes.
no. It is the mindset of the individuals. How we look at as education, as individuals, as educationists, as owners of business. How we look at education as commercial or as service sector. There are people for 40 years, they have served. Even my own teachers, I gratefully remember my own lecturers, okay, those who come and teach and go to the government school. They have been great motivators, great people who inspire. They look for the long-term process. But now, all along the way, we have lost. Definitely, we realize now that we have lost somewhere the longevity. We are now looking for short-term goals. We are not. The long-term goals have gone away little far. It is a distant story. Yes, I agree with you.
Dr. Yagappa Raj, there is another question by Advai Adileke. How do you survive your education is being jointly provided by both the government and the private sector?
How do I survive?
How do you survive your education is being jointly provided by both the government and the private sector?
Oh, very well. I have been surviving very well. You have to play accordingly, but you have your ethics. You have your personal convictions. Okay, and it is a struggle. There is no shortcut answer to that. If you cannot, you better move away. That's it. You cannot fight with an organization. You cannot fight with the boss is always right. Okay, the boss is always right. And some of us are boss. So sorry if I hurt you. I am also boss in some place. So I know the boss is always right. If the boss is wrong, refer to rule number 1. The rule number 1 says the boss is always right. Okay. That's intellectual jargon. How do you survive? You find your ways. You don't have single skill. You have many skills. You are an entrepreneur. I presume we are all an entrepreneur. We have learned more skills. We have learned from father. We have a strict father, disciplined father. We have learned from a loving mother, soft mother. We have a loving sister, loving brother, hard brother. So these all is in us. So these the method that you have adopted from your family definitely will enable you. If someone fails, according to me, they are in the bottom 25%. Somehow they were not taken care in the life. And as educationists, as teachers, we need to focus. We need to give a helping hand to these people to come up. And there is no shortcut solution. Yeah, and I have long stories. I can speak of long experiences, stories. Yes, good stories, bitter stories, better stories. Yes, I think it's an existential question when it comes to how do you survive through blend. Yes, you make mistakes and we learn from the mistakes. Yes.
So
that is why I am here in Malaysia.
Yes.
Okay. This is one of the mistakes that I did, and I had to move out, and I am here. And I'm happy now we are friends. We are friends of the past. We are not enemies. We help each other. And to me, those experiences, those instances has enabled me to survive and helps each other mutually. And that's where the role of an educated person. We don't close the door, we open the door. Thank you. I think I'm speaking too much.
Yes. There's another question. In the system of new and modern system of commercialization, in spite of the efforts from government, the poor who are talented are deprived of best education due to economic background. How to stabilize and mobilize and reach out to the students in rural areas? This is question by Gilela Vedavati.
From India, this question is from India?
I think from India, Reddy. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, this is another existential question. I worked with an NGO for 25 years in India, Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh, and Bihar, okay, in the North India. And it is a struggle, and this will take generations to overcome. Talking about India, there are a lot of disparities, gap between rich and poor, and slowly it is coming up. Maybe this internet can connect. Internet may bring some changes for good, connecting people. I definitely expect, and I'm hopeful, this Internet of Things will enable them to connect to the main line, and some help can go, and from bottom they can look up and get connected, and that's a long way to go. There is no shortcut. There are NGOs, there are good governments, good people working on it, NGOs working on it, teachers, I am sure you are all working. I'm sure in your school, in your college, you have some social work activities, and these are all catering to instill on the students, instill on every one of us as teachers when we go and do some extracurricular activities and help students, and that has to be reflected in us. It is not a one-time affair. For me, it is not a one-time affair. It should come back to you. Past is an experience. It should stare our mind, come back again and again. And again, I'm sorry, I cannot give you a shortcut answer to that. My experience is, yes, you have to swim across. Education is only providing you skills. You learn that the content part of the skill, and also learn the methodology of the skill, and we put together, whoever is putting together, they will come up in the top. Otherwise, others, there are people who are positive people, there are people always negative, nothing good can come out of their head. Okay, if that is the mindset, I think Dr. Abraham will enlighten them, shake them. Hey, come up with something positive. You have things within you. Bring out. Education is to bring the best that is within us. Okay.
I think sir has already given the answer of next question of Mudhati Radham. Sir, do you see a pandemic as a transformation tool or a setback to education around the world, especially in the third world countries?
Pandemic to me is a very positive thing. Okay, there was monopoly. Now there is no monopoly. Everything is exposed. Everything is exposed. Now from this exposure, where the world is taking on, we have to wait and watch. Definitely, what happens to us beyond our control is something good for us. We pick up the good things. Yes, Internet of Things, the Internet of Things came, and it was holding on. The online teaching, online education was holding on, was held by few. Now it is open. You can have, I'm having an internet teaching. So it is open. Now from here, how we move forward is up to me, up to us. It is. So I look at pandemic as something positive. I pick up, yes, I lost some of my siblings. I lost many things. I lost my salary. I lost my many things. It's okay. It's okay. I can earn. Okay. Although I can't get back my mom, my brothers, but however, I have a lot of other moms and brothers around the world. There are, God has provided me. I make use of that. I look at it in that way as an entrepreneur, as a positivist. Okay. And our experience, past must help. If that doesn't help, that is not your past. That is not my past to me. So for me, pandemic is not a curse, it is a blessing. Categorically, I will take that side.
It is a benison, sir. Agree. And you're a very positive person. You take things in a positive way. What a great educator you are. Wonderful. We'll go with Rafia Khan first. Please, Rafia, put your question.
Hello, good evening, ma'am. Good evening, sir. My question is, sir, my question is completely and purely on Indian context. We are talking about the teachers, and mostly we know the inclusive school or inclusive atmosphere, where nowadays government is focusing on the inclusive environment and inclusive schools. My question is it possible that the inclusive atmosphere is successfully implemented in the Indian context, and especially does this inclusive atmosphere is actually helping the special children, and moreover it is for the teachers, because if we when we talk about the inclusive, which we are talking about the regular schools and the regular teachers, don't you think this inclusive atmosphere is becoming a kind of burden on the teachers, because they are not even well aware about the psychology of the normal children? How can they deal with the inclusive atmosphere or the special children? So my question is related to this only, but it should be according to the Indian context, not about the other country.
I am sitting in a foreign place, so I may not be the right person, an authoritative person to speak on that. The fact that government is moving towards, we must understand, yes, we must criticize government, we must raise our voice, we must put forth our ideas. Education is supposed to do that. But when something comes from the top, something comes from the government, I look at it this way. It doesn't come all of a sudden. It doesn't come all of a sudden. They have certain principles, certain experience, and we may not look at fully in what way they are bringing it out. We may not agree, we may not digest that. I think we need to wait and see. My position is, if you can contribute, yes, get involved. If you cannot contribute, discuss with the intellectual minds. And even that, if I cannot do, I will keep quiet and find my way. There are many other ways. So I am not an authoritative person on that to speak.
Sir, with your permission, can I add something here? Can I add something with your permission?
Yes, sure.
Rafia, I just wanted to add up. I was just thinking that when I go to PVR or when I go to malls, I don't see transgenders over there. I don't see dwarf people over there. I don't see people who are specially challenged. Why? Because these people are not, comfortable to come with normal people like us. Because we are making them feel that they are special. Why? When God has made everyone together, I think our next keynote speaker is going to speak on this topic only. We must accept everyone. That is very, very important. That is why government has made it mandatory that inclusive education is very, very important. And I feel this is the place when we are thankful to Almighty that you have given me everything perfect. And when I am perfect, I need to open my arms to others, which is very, very important. If I don't know, I need to learn how, but my arms should be open. Thank you. I'll go with Lambert. Miss Lambert.
Yeah.
Hi.
Good morning. Good morning from my end.
Good morning.
I want to appreciate the speaker and the moderator. Thank you for everything. It has been a very wonderful presentation. My question and will I say observation is I agree very well that education is supposed to be a service industry. Let me remove the word supposed. Education is a service industry. But presenters, sir, in a situation where the products of education who are supposed to come out fully equipped in terms of acquisition of entrepreneurial skills, and perhaps the facilities that are supposed to be kept on ground in their various institutions are not readily made available for the students to have hands-on experience. By the time they graduate, how will we really convince ourselves that they can service the country, they can service the industry? That is where my fear comes. Can we really tell ourselves, can we really stand our grounds that we have actually equipped the products of education with the skills that they need, which by the time they graduate, they would have gotten all the skills that will make them service the industry? Thank you very much, sir. That's my observation, and perhaps I want you to react to that. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the observation. Yes, that is why education is supposed to be experimental. It is not completing the syllabus. It has to be for life. Education is not just you study economics, you study engineering, you study doctor. It is supposed to be doctor preparing oneself for it to be a doctor should be practical, experimental oriented. Yeah, I agree with you. Very good. Thank you. Coming back to the previous inclusive education, what comes to my mind is it's only a personal sharing. I mean, it's not a personal. Suppose if my brother, my sister is of that nature and I am the principal of the school, will I give job or will I educate? Definitely I will. I will try to bring in somewhere. I think they are also human beings endowed with mind and body and soul. Somehow along the way, they lost certain physical feature. They may be more intelligent than us. Okay. So I think inclusive education in that sense, we should, as human beings, because for me, I am first a human being. Then only I am an educated person. I am from a family, from a background. Whether good background, good family, that's subjective. Okay. But and therefore, I need to include, I'm sure many of the Indian universities are going for it. I know one university in Chennai, Loyola, where I studied. I'm an alumni of that. And they have transgenders. Yes, initially it will be a giggling thing. It will be like issues like male chauvinism and female, no, female cannot do that. We are too different. We are supposed to be एक दूसरे को पूरक हैं. No, we are supposed to supplement each other. No, we are supposed to complement each other. We are not opposites. We are not north and south. Both are having north and south. Okay, so that's my understanding. And therefore,
we will take other questions of the participants at the last. Now, I want to thank you, sir, for such a knowledgeable session. We have gained great insights on education in pandemic era and in general from the experiences and facts you have shared. And I must say, you have taught us to interpret the things in different connotation. Now, I would like to invite our second guest speaker for the today, Ms. Anamika Chabda. I would like to give a brief overview of the profile of Ms. Anamika Chabda. Ms. Anamika Chabda, having experience of more than 14 years in the field of special education, has worked with the children of special needs in Sri Ram School and trying to equip every day to create awareness about the same, and also helping in creating the platform to make children with special needs skillful. Her work was recognized at the Mrs. India platform, and she is helping people to provide vocational centers for children with special needs. Presently heading administration at GD Goenka Public School and also providing mentorship to the special education department. She is a dedicated, resourceful, hardworking, and passionate educational professional promoting quality education. She has the ability to scale up beyond teaching job, such as event management, anchoring during annual and sports day, training of teachers, handling admissions and counselings. She has been awarded as a star teacher by Adient Global School. She has won Mrs. India, Queen of Substance 2019, Best Traditional Costume, felicitated in Global Literary Festival, Women's Conclave 2019, Rashtriya Shakti Sammelan 2022. With rich corporate and academic experience, she has also attended many workshops on art and craft, storytelling, growing up, puppet making, neuro-linguistic program, Train Smarter program. Her academic responsibilities include hiring and training, maintaining school records, reviewing school policies, maintenance of school building, conducting of workshops, taking life skills sessions. We are honored, ma'am. We are honored to welcome such a dignitary among us today. Please come and enlighten your thoughts and share us your knowledge on education. We welcome you, ma'am.
Thank you, Dilpreet. Great evening to all. Thank you so much for this wonderful introduction. I'm really overwhelmed, meeting all of you. And I would like to take this further with what Dr. Yagappa Rajat said, that mindset of the individual. So I would like to take it from there to what we are gathered here for. So actually, special education, when we talk about special education, it is actually the mindset of educators, of children, of parents. What exactly is special education? So, to understand that and to talk about it in the adolescent stage, we really need to go to the root cause of it, how it starts. So basically, you all must be aware that it's not when we talk about disorders, it's actually not a disease. And how it starts from a very, very root level, which can be identified at a very early stage. Could be 1+, 2+, 3+. Parents who identify it, they go for the intervention programs. These intervention programs, they help to a certain extent. But when we say, if we compare them, or we say that mainstream or special education, how these two things are different. So basically they need an extra, what my experience says, that extra effort is, there are two types of children. One gets trained by looking at the environment, and one needs training. So this special education part is that special training which children with special need requires. So in the school scenario, we start with school scenario. See, every profession needs acceptance, passion. So firstly, to start with the educational part, if we call it curriculum or syllabus or anything, we really need to start it with that acceptance. The children needs to be accepted by educators, and it all starts first from their home, and then it comes to the schooling environment. Am I audible? Because something I think I got stuck. Ma'am,
perfectly fine. Yes, please continue.
Okay. So that acceptance, and I as a mother of a child with special needs, I think I've experienced it. It's very goody when we talk about children with special needs. It should be done like this, like that, or something, differently. When you get into the practical scenario of it, whether it's education or it's outside, or we talk about public places, it is actually not very easy. Correct me if I'm wrong, and anyone is most welcome to actually add up to this thing also. So when we get into the school, see, we really need to think. I really feel that I need to talk about the stages of psychosocial development, because it all, the understanding comes from it, and the Erikson stages of Psychosocial development is very important to get into the role of an educator to actually understand the psychology of children with special needs, or we can say children differently abled. Because every time saying children with special needs, it becomes a very big tag, very big tag. So it is, I think they're superly talented, they're differently abled. Could be possible I'm not that able, which I experience from my students or anybody, any adult also. So, it all starts, and I would like to just take a very, very short run through the Erikson stages of psychosocial development. First is that we talk about the infant stage, trust versus mistrust. So, from ages birth to 1 year, children begin to learn the ability to trust others based upon the consistency of their caregivers. If trust develops successfully, the child gains confidence, the security in the world around him, and is able to feel secure even when threatened. Unsuccessful completion of this stage can result in an inability to trust, and therefore a sense of fear about the inconsistent world. So the same happens. What if we are targeting the special education part? I would like to focus what a children gets into the idea of something, that gets into him, that stays for a longer period of time. So, that trust versus mistrust. Even if child, he or she trusts somebody, even that person is not doing right, the child will definitely get into the trust mode for that person. So that is one thing. Secondly is autonomy versus shame and doubt. So this is the toddler stage. So between the ages of 2 and 3, children begin to assert their independence, like by walking away from their mother, picking which toy to play with, and making choices about what they like to wear, to eat, etc. So if children in this stage are encouraged, they become more confident and secure. And if they're discouraged, then they just, withdraw themselves in their own ability to survive in the world. If children are criticized, overly controlled, they begin to feel inadequate in their ability to survive, and may then become overly dependent upon others, which leads to lack of self-esteem. So this is again the will. So this is very, very important. Even if a child is 4-year-old or 6 years old or 7, 10 years old, it's very, very important to have that self-esteem. So over controlling is also not good, and so it is very, very important to have that balance, because it all starts from home. Initiative versus guilt. Now, this is that kindergarten stage, Around age 3 and continuing to age 6, children assert themselves more frequently. They begin to plan activities, make up games, and initiate activities with others. Given this opportunity, children develop a sense of initiative and feel secure in their ability to lead others and make decisions. So this is how we teach when children come to school. First is the whole teaching learning program starts with organizational skills. They need to be independent, they need to be responsible, they need to be decision makers. If they don't like something, they need to raise voice, whether we talk about bad or good touch, talking to strangers, or not liking something, they really need to have that voice for themselves. So this is the third stage. Then industry versus inferiority. Now this is the age starts from 6 till puberty. So from age 6 years to puberty, children begin to develop a sense of pride in their accomplishments. You all must have noticed, this thing, that, if they do something, they bring some certificate or anything, or some sort of smiley in the notebook or something that really makes them guess, I have achieved something. That is sense of accomplishment they achieve. So they initiate projects, see them through completion. They feel good about what they have achieved. So during this time, teachers, educators play an increased role in the child's development. So this is here where we educators pitch in, and our main role is like what we try to make them. We try to instill the skills, values, morals, etc. So if children are encouraged and reinforced, they begin to feel industrious and feel confident in their ability to achieve goals. So it is very important for educators to actually understand, to pick their words wisely, because any word can create a great impact on them. Can be negative, can be positive. And this is the stage where they can improvise on their self-esteem, and they can even go down with their self-esteem. So we are the, I would not say role models, but facilitators to help them develop their self-esteem. If this initiative is not encouraged, then the child begins to feel inferior or doubting his own abilities, and therefore may not reach the potential. This is not only in the scenario of children with special needs, but with all the children it goes. So these are certain things a child with special need will also feel, and children with mainstream, they will also feel. So it is very, very important to actually understand this thing, that we really, really need to be very wise with our words. Then comes the identity versus role confusion. So this role confusion is like, now we have reached to the teenager stage. So this is a very, very crucial stage. This is like during adolescence, children are exploring their independence. Wow, I am this. That feeling comes within them, and that sense of independence could be for anything and not necessarily for their syllabus or for their education part. So they're exploring their independence and developing a sense of self. Those who receive proper encouragement and reinforcement through personal exploration will emerge from this stage with a strong sense of self and a feeling of independence and control. So this control is not from our side. What we have inculcated in them till this stage, now this is that working stage. How till that industry versus inferiority worked is actually the working module for them at the time of their adolescent stage. So those who remain insecure of their beliefs and desires will insecure and confused about, they will be insecure and confused about themselves and the future. So it's very, very important for them to control their feelings, their emotions, their decisions, rather than us controlling their mind. It's very, very important that they should control their mind. Now, intimacy versus isolation. Now, this is the stage young adult, where now they're young adults. So this is also, again, a very, very crucial stage. And this covers the period of early childhood when people are exploring personal relationships. So when we see, children sometimes in schools, I hear a lot when children come and they talk about it, father bashing up mother and being abusive, with servants and with, other family members. And this is the experience that they completely have soaked in to them, yes, this is a particular pattern, things are followed, and they take it positively also. They feel that, yes, this is a complete okay system to follow. So Erikson believed it was vital that people develop close, committed relationships with other people. Those who are successful at this step will develop relationships that are committed and secure. Studies have demonstrated that those with a poor sense of self tend to have less committed relationships and are more likely to suffer emotional isolation, loneliness, and depression. So this depression stage is again for everyone. So what they see in their past, they are carrying that further in their own relationships as well. So now mid-adulthood. So I'm just going to talk about two more stages, and that will cover the complete stages of Erikson: generativity versus stagnation. And this comes during mid-adulthood. So though personally I have experienced and I can speak till adolescence, young adult is something even I need to study more about it. But this is something very, very, very important, I think, where we all gather like this. It is exchange of ideas also and exchange of experience where we learn. So I'm just going to talk very short about mid-adulthood and old age. So during middle adulthood, we establish a career. So this is the time when the focus is more on livelihood, to make, you know, ourselves more skilled and to be more independent financially. You know, I would like to just emphasize on this word financially, because everything revolves around finances. So if you're financially okay, then I think you're accepted, no matter whether the child is with special needs or from mainstream. If, you know, somebody is able to earn the livelihood, then I think that is a complete acceptable situation. And the last stage, that is that old stage. As we grow older and become senior citizens, we tend to slow down our productivity and explore life as a retired person. So this is actually, you know, we sometimes become dissatisfied with life and develop despair, often leading to depression and hopelessness. So, you know, this is the stage. This is a very lonely stage, actually, you know, where you start expecting a lot more from others. Like if you see, if I talk about my personal experience, if I talk about my parents, they accept a lot that we should visit them quite often, and that's, you know, with time, and it's sometimes it is not possible. So I think I will not be able to emphasize more on that stage, because I would like to just talk more about adolescence, because that is what we are targeting. So, you know, there are some defense mechanism if we talk about special education in school scenario, and what after schooling. There's so much talk going around everywhere, whether India or other countries, we should do this, we should do that. But what actually is happening? You know, children with special needs or adults with special needs, they're only getting sympathy. You know, sympathy is that word people talk about. This should happen like this should not happen like this. What actually is happening? That's not, we really need to focus on that. So, you know, the 3 parts of personality that works, and that really helps children to actually understand what actually is needed to make them independent, to earn their livelihood, for people like us to help them to earn their livelihood. That is why my complete endeavor is toward creating that platform, that they should be given some vocational trainings also, so that they become independent. What I have seen in India, and I would like to focus on that only, there are many NGOs. They provide these vocational services to children, basically training, vocational training, where children learn to make candles, baskets, envelopes. But what, I'm like, is that the only platform we can give to them? I'm like, I would like to just keep it very, very interactive. What do you think? That should be the only platform given to them? So yeah, I really don't know about other countries, but I would really like to speak about India, though it's a wonderful endeavor to actually give that platform. But sometimes children are more potential. They can do much better than what is being provided to them. Right? And globally, if I see, you know, outside countries, what I've heard, and I've been connected to many people, they're doing fantastically. So I think that is the approach we all need to have. So anyone would like to add, I'm like, how it's done, or your experience, that what kind of vocational trainings are given? Anybody? Okay. All right. So, because, you know, I would really like to emphasize on that, what personally I have seen and what I feel the kind of awareness is needed, that yes, they have the potential. It is just that we really need to identify. It takes a lot for them to identify their emotions, to identify their skills. They need somebody's hand. You know, we really need to hold their finger, their hand, to actually help them identify their own potential. There's somebody who had started this endeavor I think a year back, a typical advantage, you know, where This is a beautiful endeavor where all the people with special needs are there with their own things, like, if somebody is a good musician or a singer or with a painter, things like this. So, I think Sandeep Kumar wants to say something, ma'am, if he can be unmuted. So this is something very beautiful. That endeavor is really, really beautiful. And it's actually what I have in India. I noticed that for the first time. I'm sure that, in other countries, it's happening. So it's a very beautiful platform that they're together. But I really want to raise up this question that why again and again, when we talk about people who are differently abled with this tag of being differently abled or with special needs, why? There is a difference we are creating. Anybody would like to just add up something to it? It's, again, in this 15 minutes conversation only, I have only said it so many times, unrealizing it, that we are actually talking about one platform for all. So it is actually, but why, again, we talk a lot about inclusive setup. Why do we have to say inclusive setup? Why do we have to say it inclusive setup? It is a setup for children.
May I speak,
ma'am? Somebody is saying something?
May I speak, ma'am, if you give permission?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Please.
Ma'am. Good evening, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
Myself, Sandeep Kumar, a research scholar.
Yeah.
Basically, ma'am, I've gone through whatever you have said, and I am perfectly agreed what you have said regarding the psychosocial stages of a student.
Yes.
That is given by the erection.
Yeah.
And there are 8 stages. So my question is that these are the 8 stages which we expect a child to go through from each stage successfully. Then he can be a successful person in his adult life.
Yes.
So what I see in this, what I personally feel, it is not only the child who has to struggle from all these stages. It is the role of our culture, our society, even our parents to help the particular child so that he can successfully go through the stages. Like if we will talk about the initiative stage, a child at the age of 4 to 5 years, it is not only the task of a child to face that challenge of the initiative stage, that is the 3rd stage. I think, in my personal opinion, it is the task of our parent, the immediate family member, society, our teacher, and the colleagues who is surrounded by that particular child to help them to successfully clear that stages, so that we can help that particular child to move forward to the next stages. And in each stages, what I personally believe, there is a role of culture, society, and parents, the family member, so that he can find it easy to move to the next stages. Because to expect a child alone to go through all these stages, I think this is a little bit difficult task for a child. It is a collective, as you have told, it is a inclusive basically effort of all of us, of as a parents, as a society member, as a teacher, to assist and to help that particular child so that he can clear these stages very easily. This is my what I want to add my personal opinion in what you have said.
Yeah. Very well said, sir. And that is what I just wanted to bring it up also. See, when I started with acceptance, when I talk about acceptance, and when we say acceptance, this acceptance starts from where? The first acceptance starts from parents, Parents need to accept, when we talk about accept me the way I am, right? So that acceptance needs to come from charity begins at home. We all have heard this, If we will not be able to accept, if we are not able to accept our own child, who will accept the child? And there's a very, I'll just share this incident. I'm like this, a few days back, a parent had come to me, the child was with special needs, and I could diagnose, because it is parents, I don't understand why do they hesitate. When they come, they talk about it, that yes, he needs a little extra help. Don't even have to tag with this, that he's a child with special needs. I could diagnose the child, and all entrance and everything happened. And this is a true thing which I'm telling you, not a cooked up story. So basically, and in the first meeting, I could, tell some ways, because, my school is not fully equipped with to help children with behavioral issues. So I was very clear on that part. And then I thought that this mother needs help. Whatever little I had experienced, I could share with her. And, the second time when mother came, I wanted to have an interaction with the child, just to keeping in mind that, yes, I need to help the child. And the child said that, I asked the mother, how about the sibling relationship? She said, no, she doesn't go with him because he disturbs and all that. When I asked the child, what about your relationship with your sister? And I was taken aback and said, she hates me. She hates me. And when I talked about father-son relationship, he said, my father always keeps on scolding me. And he also hates me. He speaks very badly. So I'm like, I was taken aback, and then I told the mother, I'm sorry, I don't think I'll be able to help you, because you need to help yourself first. After that, you'll be able to help your child. So when we talk about being sensitive, we really need to be sensitive at the very first stage, and that starts from home. We really, parents need to accept it. And this, again, a true confession, what I want to make it, because I think theoretically we can equip ourselves as much as we can. We have so much information with us, Google and books and everything. But I have gone through it personally. Initially, it was not very easy for me also to accept it. My son lacked social communication. Otherwise, everything was fine. But he lacked social communication. It took me some while to accept the fact that he needs help. And after the day I accepted the fact that it's okay, he's my child and I will help him, everybody started helping me and my child. So today, if I'm able to speak about it, I think it is because I wanted to help myself, and after helping myself, I could help my son. So this is very, very important, that we need to accept our child the way he or she is. Then only we can accept something. It is very, very, we sometimes feel that if you're paying to some school or something, it becomes a prime duty, because education is a passionate job. We need to be sensitive, but why? We really need to have realistic approach too. If my child wants to go to somebody's place and somebody is not inviting him and somebody is not interested, can we force that thing? See, we can talk a lot and so much about this topic, but we really need to have realistic approach as well. Please correct me if I'm wrong. So it is very important to start working at the initial level, at the initial stage. And it's actually not very important to have that theoretical knowledge, whether for a child with special needs or for mainstream children. They really, really need to follow what they want to. They really need to be skillful. Somebody asked me this beautiful question, what do you want? You want marks or you want your son to be skillful? And at that time, I was really confused, because I thought, in today's education scenario, even marks matter. I cannot take my son without marks, because no university will accept him. How will he become skillful if he doesn't score marks?
Excuse me, I couldn't raise my hand, so I had to just interject this way. I am stationed here in the US, and I have been on both sides of the aisle, teaching in the classroom and also doing things administratively. When it comes to special education, it's very, very endeared to me. First of all, you have to identify it, because many people do not know how to identify it. They don't have the resources, okay? Like we always say back home, where we all come from, charity begins at home. So once you identify it, then you try to identify the resources that are available. Yes. Resources are not available, okay, in so many places. So, and when you identify the available resources, if there is, you have to follow through, okay? You have to advocate for your child, because there have been instances where we've had to have the school administration involved and beyond before they could do anything. So the resources are there, but it's just a matter of finding them. And when you find them, then you follow through and make sure that those resources are applied to your child, because if not, nobody's going to do it. And then having the wrong administrator in charge of this area, because many times they think that your child is crazy, okay, that he doesn't want to do things, okay? Why? Because you are not qualified and then you are in charge of special needs area. So it's a very broad field, okay? And then from that personal experience, okay, it has helped me because I'm the director of information technology, okay? It has helped me be able to get the resources available without the school did not know where to go. I was able to get the resources available, installing special softwares or things like that, special tools for children with special education so that they're able to learn. And then additionally, I also teach as an adjunct. So when a student with special need came to my class, I was able to identify it where before anybody else, okay? And then he opened up to me. So I gave him my number. He could text me anytime or things like that. And then I found out that he's a very smart kid, okay? But when it comes to taking tests, he doesn't want to take the test with everybody in class. So I made an arrangement. If I'm giving the test today, let's say 5 o'clock, 5:30, I will have him come to my office around 3 o'clock and take the test. Guess what? He has an A in the course, okay? So it takes identifying and it takes providing the resources, and it takes taking the student or whatever to decide and try to get in his or her mind or whatever. And then for the younger students, it takes the parents being involved. So I hope I did not talk too much there. Thank you. It was just a very endearing subject to me because I've felt it from both ends. And then I tried to do my best to help the situation. Because like they say, who feels it knows it.
Wonderful, Ekbabio. It was wonderful sharing. And we really want you to stay till end, because I think this session is getting on. And there are a lot of questions coming to me also. And we'll be taking it afterwards also. Namika ma'am, please you take up your time and compile. Questions we'll take later. But sir, I really want you to be here because we have a lot of things to be asked, and our next resource person is waiting. So in the end, we will take all the questions from now onwards. And I want the way sir has experienced, and he has shared his experience at Fabio. That way, more people to come and share the experience. And we want that to be done in the end. Yes, and Amika ma'am, too. Over to
you. Sir, thank you so much for sharing this. And it's actually what you said that, I did to identify that this thing is very, very important and to accept it from both the sides, because it is always a teamwork. It is always a teamwork. So we all need to open arms to accept children the way they are and help them as much possibly we can. And it goes for the parents as well, because it is always a teamwork. I would like to just compile with that as sir also mentioned, that this is a huge, if we talk about this topic, this subject, it's a very, very huge topic. And it's actually, we can go on to, never ending conversations and talks about it. But any questions, at the end of the session, anybody is more welcome. Everybody is more welcome to ask me. And I would like to just compile it that acceptance is very, very, very important. And we really need to provide them with the platform, and that can only come if we at first we identify them, provide them with the right resources, and then as educator and parents, they both come together and try to help them, because they are like us only. They're a part of us. I would not say like us, that was a wrong statement. We are one. So thank you so much, Navneet ma'am, for providing me with this platform. And thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Anamika.
I just want to add before Dilpreet give formal thanks. We had a wonderful resource person, but somehow she had some problem and she was not able to attend. And before half an hour, just before half an hour, this seminar, I called Anamika ma'am. I said, I want you to be here because special education, we all need to understand and we need to work. And she accepted. And just in half an hour, she was there on the board. Kudos to you, Anamika. God bless you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Anamika ma'am, for this enlightening session. You have taught us about the things that create impact on children's mind of all age groups that we were unaware about. Thank you so much for delivering this knowledgeable session on child psychology and role of parents, teachers, and all members of society in it. And thank you so much, as ma'am mentioned, that you have accepted this invitation in very short notice. So thanks a lot, ma'am, for being with us. Now, I would like to invite our next guest speaker, Dr. A. Abraham, and would like to give his brief profile. Dr. A. Abraham completed his MBBS from Trivandrum Medical College and his MD in Dermatology from All India Institute of Medical Sciences, New Delhi. His passion for NLP led him to give his medical career in UK and concentrate full time on spreading awareness on neuro-linguistic programming, NLP. He has been certified practitioner of NLP, UK, certified practitioner in Meta NLP, and master practitioner in Meta NLP, Australia, licensed practitioner of integral eye movement therapy, Fresh Pain Company. Apart from his professional expertise, he has focused on functional competency by initiating Mind Dynamics Steering Program. Dr. Abraham has published research papers on neuro-linguistic programming, conflict management, therapeutic communication, mind dynamics, and personal excellence through NLP. He holds the position of honorary consultant, Kerala State Sport Council. He has been acknowledged as guest faculty in several institutions all over India. Also, he has delivered many seminars and lectures on LLP and health in medical and nursing colleges. Not only this, he has rich corporate experience by collaborating with companies like Suntech Business, Technopark, Allianz Cornhill, Technopark, Infosys, Technopark, Ernst & Young's, and many more. He has very rich international exposure also in educational institutes like Gulf Medical College, United Arab Emirates, Pristine Private School Dubai, British Council Muscat, and corporate houses like Oman Insurance Company Dubai, Emirates Airlines Dubai, Jacobson's Direct Marketing LLC Dubai, and many more. I am honored to welcome such a dignitary among us today who will enlighten us on NLP-based mind methodology in teaching and learning. We welcome you, sir.
Right, can you hear me?
Yes,
right,
sir.
okay. I need to share the screen. Can you see the screen? Are you okay? Right. Okay. Right. I'm always very uncomfortable with welcome speeches because they always say fantastic things about yourself and then you have to live up to it. I will not forgive you, miss, because you said far too many things. In fact, I feel a little odd in this group. I'm probably the only misfit here because I'm not an academician. I'm not a teacher. And educationally, I'm very average. And I went into NLP out of things because I love helping other people. And when I was in the UK, I came across NLP, and then I realized the best way to help others is to help others help themselves rather than we helping them. So, and I'm not one of those fancy corporate trainers as well. So a lot of my methodologies may be a bit naive. So since we don't have much time and I don't want a lot of people have been sitting for a long time, I'll try to make it as brief as possible. Right. So the major players in the teaching challenges, the major players are the parents. The parents come with their own dreams of and which they want to achieve through their to their children. The students have their own agenda, and the teachers are in between, have to please both of them plus the society as well. So I put the screen on because sometimes we are so used to communicating with others, teaching others, telling others, but we forget the art of observation. Imagine you're going into a classroom or a staff room or anywhere else. You just walk in. If only you had paused there for 1 second before you enter, you probably have learned a lot more about the situation. And then maybe you would not have probably made a mistake which you made before. Okay. Viktor Frankl wrote a fantastic book called The Man's Search for Meaning. In that he says, between stimulus and response, there's a space. In that space is our power to choose a response. In our response lies a growth and a freedom. Okay. So basically it is, my request to all of you is that before you say or do anything, just pause for a second. That 1 second might change your life for the kids with whom you're teaching or in your relationship as well. So there is a fantastic book called Nunchi. It is written by a South Korean lady. And it basically is all about the power of awareness. So basically, if you are aware, now there's a big difference between awareness and looking. When you look, you see things what you want to find. When you're aware, information comes to you. And believe me, a lot more information will come that way. So there is an NLP presupposition which says that we cannot not communicate. It's a double negative, but purposely put. Whenever we are communicating, words have very little value. Tone has got more value. Body language has maximum. But in another context, while over telephone, the verbal part has more on. Now, basically, the major things are the verbal and the non-verbal. And I'm sure most of you will agree that it's the non-verbal has more strength in a communication. But this is where we make the biggest mistake. Non-verbal can be faked. You smile when you don't have to. You nod your heads when you don't have to. But that's the point. So I want to therefore introduce you to something which is very important in this non-verbal segment. If all of you are listening, if you can sit with your face facing forward, and then I want you to imagine something that you really like, anything that you really like. Just imagine something that you really like. I'm sure you're seeing this somewhere in your mind. Okay, then just shake your body a little bit, and then now think about anything that you don't like at all. Anything that you don't like. And when you start doing this, you start imagining things that you don't like. I can bet you, most of you, that when you thought about something that you liked, it appeared in one part of your body and one side of your body. And when you think about something that you do not like, it appeared somewhere else. So if I had, when I was talking to you, if I had observed, used the Nunchi and observed your eye movements and your facial expression, I will know where you look when you like and where you look when you do not like. And in a communication or teaching, this is tremendously important because it will help you avoid making it will help you to make mid-course corrections in the way you communicate with others. Basically, it's all about, we all are about understanding others, telling others, helping others, and we're so involved in that, we forget one thing, understanding ourselves. If you look, read Stephen Covey's book, he says, seek first to understand before you understand the other person. So it's paramount that we understand ourselves before we start talking to others as well. Okay. Let's look at our mind. Our mind has been referred to as a 1 million GB Nectar PC using the latest 5 Windows operating system. But this is the only PC that comes without a driver software. God in his infinite wisdom gave you a fantastic computer called the instruction manual. So basically NLP is like the instruction manual of the brain. Okay, or the user's manual of the brain. we have a conscious mind and an unconscious mind. The conscious mind has a problem. It has a limit of 7 plus or minus, according to George Miller. But even 7 is not possible. I would say 2 or 3 things you can concentrate at what moment in time. And the rest goes into unconscious mind. The conscious mind is like the captain's deck, where they make the decisions. The unconscious mind like the engine room in the ship, which has got tremendous power. The irony is that the people who manage the engine room cannot see anything or make any decision. So we always seem to follow the conscious mind, which has a limited exposure. Now, as I'm speaking to you, I need to be aware of what I'm saying. I can bring about 2 things into my conscious awareness, and I say that, and then I bring the next one. So the whole session today, I've arranged my thoughts into chunks of 2, 2, 2, 2, 2 like this. And which 2 I say first and which 2 I say second, it is my decision. I decide which has got more preference than the other. Now, all of you sitting here, and in fact, you've been sitting for a long time, so you're getting a little tired. So you pick out the 2s that you like, compare from the 2s that I've given to you. This is what happens in a classroom also. You teach according to your preference of what should be taught, given to the children. The children in their different way pick out things according to their preference. And that is why, so if you want to be effective, if you can understand the preferences of the children, using a Nunchi, and there are some things which I'm going to go into, then you probably can vary your teaching material to suit the preferences of most of them in a way so that otherwise 2/3 of your audience will switch off. So everything starts in the mind as thought, isn't it? So we have information from outside, we take it inside in our mind as thoughts, and even here we make a preference. If I ask you to think about a holiday that you all liked very much, for some of you, your memory will be full of pictures or mainly of pictures and scenery. Some of you will be thinking about happiness and the fun and the enjoyment, and very few of you about the silence or the noise or the sound in that part. So that basically we have a visual preference, a auditory preference, and a feeling preference. But we are combined, but one is more than the other. Therefore, here, as we take in information from outside, we are also already making a preference. The visual people take more visual elements and the others according to their preference. So let me give you a cooking metaphor here. The thoughts come from outside. We take the thoughts and arrange it into so thoughts are like ingredients. We arrange it into a structure, and believe me, the structure was given to us even without our permission by our parents, our religion, a society, everything. So we arrange it according to that. You make a structure. The structure helps you to understand, and what you understand dictates your behavior and your language. Okay. So if somebody has a problem with their behavior, what they do is they come to the teacher or the parents, and you help them change the behavior. To me, this is where you make the biggest mistake, because the behavior is the end result. It's outside your control. And therefore, and the behavior is also associated with feelings. Now, the behavior is caused by the way you arrange your thoughts. And if you can educate the person to make him understand that this is how you arrange your thoughts, and that is why you understand, and that's why you behaved, it is helpful for the person, especially children, to make changes in the way they arrange their thoughts. And I can bet you make one change in one thought, the whole syntax changes, therefore the understanding changes, and therefore the behavior changes. So basically we arrange thoughts in a pattern. Now here's where a mistake. See, we arrange the thoughts in a pattern, we understand. So far, so good. But the moment we understand, it's called map, and the moment we understand it, we give it a meaning. This is where the trouble starts. The meaning is associated with the emotions, and therefore the behavior is more difficult to control. Somebody once said, never as anybody be able to calm down by telling that person to calm down. And therefore it is the thoughts that need to change. We have a recipe. Now, we have a recipe for anger, for stress, for success, for love, relationship, life, everything. We have an anchor. So basically what we are saying is concentrate on the structure, not on the behavior. The structure has got no feelings, therefore it's easy to change. the behavior associates feelings, and therefore it's much more difficult to change. And even if you change the behavior, the thoughts are still the same. You'll produce a behavior again. So our mind plays games. Look at the mind. Tim Galway, a tennis coach, wrote a fantastic book called The Inner Game of Tennis. In that, he talks about mind games. Look at the mind games. The inner game of self-belief and awareness of the power of the mind. This is what we need to educate our kids and everybody about the power of their own mind and how much they are in charge. Now look at the kid. The kid goes to school, arranged by the teacher, by the parents. They have no control of the school. They have no control of the teachers. They have no control of subjects. They have no control of how they're taught. Everything is out of game. So they're trying to prove to somebody else how good they are based on somebody else's rule. So if you encourage them to understand the power of their own mind and how much they are in charge, believe me, they'll play the outer game a lot better. So, and then we have this dream game. This is where we make the biggest mistake. Kids are dreamers par excellence. They have fantastic dreams. And what sometimes we do is we say, that's a silly game. Okay, go and study. Now, what we are saying is if the kid comes with a dream, say, oh, that's a fantastic dream. Respect the dream and then connect it to learning. Believe me, they'll learn. But if you say it's useless, do your studies, they will not learn. I have had the personal experience. A kid was a fantastic under 15 cricket player in our state. He's a good student, but his marks were suffering because of the games that he play. So I told him about a lot of Indian cricketers who are captains, and all of them are engineers. They're still respected. Okay. Like Kumble and Dravid and people like this. And then he realized, and now what he does is he takes the books to the games so that he can study during the break time. So if you tell the children to believe in the dream and imagine what they will see, hear, and feel when they experience the dream, you have created such a feeling in them. The dream synergizes. So dreams are like destination to the GPS of their mind. If you do not have a dream, you're wasting your time. Okay. And not only that, you buy a jigsaw puzzle, you get a picture. Without the picture, there's no point doing the jigsaw puzzle. So dream is the jigsaw puzzle of this person's life. In addition, the mind can do one more thing. In the jigsaw puzzle, you can only use the pieces given inside the box. But we can use pieces from outside the box, from my life and what other people tell you. And that is the beauty of encouraging children to have their dreams. Effective teaching and learning should be influenced by outcome. You should tell the kids what are they going to benefit and how they're going to benefit when they have learned well and when they become the best. Thoughts need outcomes to be accomplishment. Otherwise, just doing things as going to school every day and coming back, going to school every day and coming back. So like Stephen Covey says, it doesn't matter how fast you're climbing if the ladder is not pointing, is against the wrong wall. So make them dream the right wall, make them dream the right outcome, and everything else that you do becomes more effective. Brains go in direction. Brain is a very powerful thing. It works 24/7. Help the student understand how their mind works. Help them to set their own direction. Believe me, if you don't do that, somebody else will do it for them and they will not like it. Richard Bandler, one of the co-founders of neurolinguistic programming, said, if you cannot manage your life, somebody else will manage it for you, and then don't complain. And I'm sure we are sick of people telling us what to do. From the day we are born, people are telling us what to do. It's about time we decide to take the steering wheel in our life, of our life in our hands, and drive the way we want. Of course, we need help. Another game our mind plays is that we play movie game. Remember, all of you sitting in the room and the kids are fantastic movie makers. Remember, we have a movie of stress, we have a movie for worry, we have a movie of failing the exam, we have a movie of winning the exam. And believe me, if you want the kids to be better, help them change, help them have a fantastic movie in their mind, and the movie will make them more accomplished, and therefore their studies and their performance will also be better, much better. So let's look at how we make movies. Imagine BBC or Doordarshan or CNN or somebody comes and takes a cinema of this class, this session. They take the session through, they record the video and they record the sound. And one thing our mind has got, we can record feelings also. and they take it to the studio, they edit, and what they show you is what they want you to see. So just look at this. This is the real thing, okay? And this we take in through our 5 senses. This is where we do the edition. Based on the edition, we have a understanding, have a map of the world. Understanding takes your emotions, and therefore your behavior is based on the internal map, the thing that you saw inside the mind and not on reality. Please remember. So if you have a difference between somebody else, please remember, you have edited your movie that in your mind, and you are looking at the edited movie, and therefore you have no right to tell the other person that he or she is wrong. Kids have fantastic movies. Please remember, they are editing according to what they've been told, and therefore respect their movie and help them change the movie. Now, when kids come to you, okay, they are scared to come to you. They know you got very little time. So in that time, they try to explain things to you in a way that probably they will not understand. So if you use your nunchi, and if you're able to understand the kid a little better and tell them, is this what you want? Suddenly they feel so happy because the first time somebody seemed to understand them even more than they themselves or their parents were able to understand. Okay. So whenever you talk to people, we have a lot of internal dialogue. Oh, I wish the kids goes quickly or something like that. We are always talking to ourselves. So if you want to have a good conversation, empty your mind. Okay. And the Japanese have a word for this called shoshin, a beginner's mind. So the other interesting thing is, I'll give you a simple example to show what I'm tell you. All of you, for the next 1 second, don't think about a white elephant with a blue tail, yellow ears, and pink feet. Okay, and that's all. This is what we tell our children every day. Don't do this, don't do that, don't do this, don't fail in the exam, don't forget lessons. So what we are saying is, rather than saying don't forget your lesson, tell them remember the lessons. Okay, this is called reframing. We have 5 senses to gather information. Like I said before, we see, we hear, we feel, smell, and taste. Smell and taste is connected along with K. That means the 3 major senses are what you see, what you hear, and what you feel. Look at the world of metaphors and frames. I think all teachers should be wonderful storytellers. If you look at all the religious books, it's full of stories. If you tell somebody a fact, it is processed by the left side of the brain. But if you tell somebody a story, it's processed by the right side of the brain, and the left brain will say it's only a story, let it go in. Therefore, through the story, you can get valuable information in. Whenever I take sessions, I show 1-minute movie clips. And I also tell a lot of things about myself. And unfortunately, my wife is a very great example of all this. And therefore, my wife has already told, don't give me as an example. But where can I get fantastic specimens without being sued? So my children and my wife, my family are examples. And my participants come and tell me, doctor, whatever you say, we can relate in our life. And therefore, if you want to be good teachers, you must be able to look at the frames that we use in our life. Okay, frames are telling us. So see, North Indian, South Indian, Westerners, Arabs. These are all frames. We are all human beings. I'm sure in this society, this crowd, we have got people from all over, and we are not Nigerians or Africans or Asians or somebody like that. And they have frames. So when students come and tell you, ma'am, I've got a problem, tell them, no, you've got a challenge. In fact, there's a fantastic movie called Blind Side. Sandra Bullock acts in the movie. And this kid tells a teacher, I don't understand it. And the teacher says, yet. The moment the teacher used the word yet, the world opened. So we need to learn to reframe, change the way they come to you with their problems. Okay. Then the meaning of your communication is the response you get. So whenever you speak to somebody else, if you want to get an outcome, you must know how they're processing information. And the best way to notice how they process information is it's the movement of the eyes. This is a very controversial thing, but if it along with your intuition, it's okay. If I want all of you to imagine a picture in your mind, a nice painting. And keep your eyes open. Imagine a nice painting. Whenever you imagine a picture, most of you, the eyes went up because this is where we put up pictures. So if a student comes to you and says, look, ma'am, or look, sir, it's not clear to me, and their eyes go up, That means the eyes went up, they used 1 or 2 visual words in their sentences. That means you know that the child is producing, processing information visually, and therefore when you speak to them or teach them, use visual words and show them audio visual type of materials. If the child says, ma'am, I can't, I don't feel good about it, I can't grasp what you're saying, and their eyes go down, that means they tend to using feelings, and therefore you need to use the visual. Now, this is not true for everyone, but if you use a nunchi, you will be able to observe things. Therefore, in a classroom, please remember there are visually preferred people, auditory preferred people, and feeling preferred. Be a combination, but there is preference. So in a classroom, as a good teacher, you must be able to use the visual words, auditory words, and kinesthetic words in your teaching. Otherwise, like I said before, 2/3 audience will switch off. Now, a state of mind is also important. Our state of mind at any moment in time determines how active you are. When children come to them, they might come with fear. And that is why we always say that you start your class with a story, make them feel happy. And when they feel happy, your lessons will be better. Pablo, Russian scientist, showed a meat to a dog, and then he rang a bell. And after some time, when he rang the bell, the dog started salivating. Like that, make the children feel a fantastic experience, make them enjoy that, and ask them to connect it to a touch. And therefore, if you do that, or you connect it to a sound that you make when the children come in, every time you use a sound, the children will go back into the memory, and you have created a fantastic state of mind, which is easy for learning. I think I've got a little time, so this is very important, the next one. Till now, I've been telling you how information is coming inside in your mind. Now I'm going to tell you how the information is processed inside the mind. Okay, because like the computer, in our mind, we also got an operating system called the meta program. These are programs in our mind, a thinking style, which arranges the information that comes from outside in the order in which you are able to process. We all process information differently, and it's very important as teachers to know the different processing style of the kids. And therefore, how do we know that? By the way they talk and use their body language. Let's look at some of them. Proactives and reactives. The proactives are initiators, leaders. You tell them you have a break, they've already gone out of the class. Okay, so you have to tell them very quickly, otherwise they have very little attention span. If you're doing career guidance counseling, these people are best for outside jobs. The opposite is reactive, where they'll sit and will respond only when you initiate. These people are therefore need to be taught a little differently. And also, if you're doing career guidance counseling, they're good in receptions, complaints department, therapy, counseling, because they wait till the people come to them before they do therapy. Then you have this towards people and away from people. Towards people are incentive oriented. They study hard to get good marks, good university, good jobs, so many things. So therefore, they are attracted by incentives. If you're doing career guidance counseling, they are good for project management, software engineering, because they know if they do this, they can get the benefit. The opposite is away from. These people are studying hard not to get good marks, but to avoid failing. They know what will happen if they're failing. They're so aware of problems that they detect problems very well. So in career guidance counseling, these people are good auditors, quality control people. In IT department, they are the best testers in the world, because they identify things just like that. Only thing is, if you do not know them, we put an away from person in the towards department. From the day one, they'll start complaining about the problem. Then you have options people. These are kids who, if you tell them one idea, they want 10 different ideas. Okay? There are procedure people who will want you to tell them everything, and they only do what you tell them to do. Then you have general people and specific. General people, the kids are very little attention span. They want an overall view, rest they will read by themselves. If you give them details, they halfway through, you see them listening somewhere else. And therefore, they need to be left alone, given an overall view, and let them go. The opposite is specifics. They need detail, step by step by step by step. Otherwise, and they will only do what you tell them to. And they're very meticulous. These are the most difficult students to have, the internal. I know everything. What teacher? She's reading from the textbook, and anybody can teach. And such people, it's very easy to deal with them provided you make them realize they are the most fantastic student in the world. That's why they are understanding what you're teaching, not because you are teaching them. Okay, you need to do a little buttering and lift them up, and they say, "Oh, look at your face. I can see how brilliant you are." And then now they'll do this. The opposite external, they want you to tell them how good they are and all those things. In my house is kept very clean. Do you know why? Because my wife is more bothered about what other people think if the house is not clean. Okay, right. Now I would introduce something called Baroque music. This type of music, the beats are 60 to 62 beats per minute or less, which is the beat of a resting heart. So if you play this music in the classroom, very softly, we're not listening, but there is an ambience. An ambience is created. The heart rates are synchronizing with the beat, and you go into alpha state, which is the. Am I going out of time? I can't hear you.
Please continue, sir. Continue.
Okay. Right. So I'm all finished. Okay. And therefore, it reduces and go into alpha state, which is the ideal state of mind. In hospitals, I'm a doctor by training, but I gave up my career. I can't understand why they can't play lovely music in the waiting room, the operation theaters. But the problem is, if you play lovely music in the hospital, the patient will get better faster, and then you probably won't be able to charge them a hefty bill. And that's a problem also. Now we come to something called brain journey. This is not NLP. If you are a right-handed person, your left brain has got more synapses, and therefore the left brain, the dominant brain. If you're left-handed, your right brain has got more synapses. So brain gymnastics are movements which will trigger different parts of the brain. So encourage your children to use a non-dominant hand. Therefore, their brain becomes more synaptic and therefore more powerful. If you're right-handed, you tend to stand like this. If you're left-handed, you tend to stand like this. If you're ambidextrous, that means ability to use both hands very well, you tend to stand straight. And believe me, that's a more confident posture. So if you encourage your children to become ambidextrous, they unconsciously will develop a confident posture and they become more confident. So I've told you a lot of things. And hopefully I made you realize something in a ship. The air conditioning failed. They tried all sorts of things, nothing would work. Finally, an old AC mechanic came and said, "Let me do something to this." So the captain said, "You do." He walked in the boiler room, looked at all the pipes, and he tapped one red valve. The AC started working. Then he said, "Okay, give me the bill." The captain was very happy. Bill came for 10,000 rupees. The man said, "Old man, you spent 5 minutes in the boiler room, you tapped one valve, how can you charge 10,000? Okay, the next day the bill came, charge for tapping the valve ₹1, charge for knowing which valve is 9,999. So in this short session, I probably talked a lot of things, but hopefully I made you look at 1 or 2 valves in your life and the valves of your children, and maybe it might make a difference. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for this very engaging and interesting session. This practical session has aroused our curiosity more on this subject to learn more about NLP and its implication in education. Thank you so much, sir, for this informative session. Now I hand over the session to Ms. Dr. Navneet Kaur for further thanks.
Thank you, Dilpreet. Oh my God, sir, what a session. Thank you for capturing the event so perfectly. I'm sincerely grateful for this part in this event. So beautifully you have shared us the power of awareness, power of mind, how the concentration on structure is more important. I think every teacher, every facilitator must understand the value of what is NLP is doing. So what I have understood, neuro-linguistic programming is an experiential approach to learning. Herein, if a person wants to understand an action, they must first perform that same action and learn from the experience. Truly wonderful session, and I think a lot of questions will be there. Before we take the question, I want to thank other keynote speakers also. Dr. Yagappa, I truly appreciate your professionalism and want to thank you for the points you made with your motivating speaking skills. Experience, experiment, and expectation. Beautiful 3E, you have given it to us. and the way global trends in education are moving out. Yes, the keynote taken from you is creating a better world through education. Ms. Anamika, your expertise have made a difference, an inclusive global community, and how beautifully you have transformed this inclusive to something permanent which we need to accept. We bring the world's most influential minds in education together to learn from each other, innovate and amplify their impact. So learning benefits everyone. We all are learners here. If I want to be a teacher, I need to be a learner first. So we share proven educational initiatives that promise a wider impact on global societies. With this note, I want to thank Team ICERT, and today such a global huge team from 35 countries. Thanks to each one of you. Wonderful participation. The chat box was fully imbibed with so many suggestions, questions, appreciations. Thank you each and every participant for wonderful efforts to make this webinar a great success. How we are close now, it's one family. That is the beauty of this ICERT. Special thanks to Chairman Sir Dr. Singamar Sir. I don't know from where you search these speakers. They are full of knowledge. Oh my God, where they take us, and we are evolving and exploring on every step, I should say. Thank you to Secretary Sir for having such a great platform to all of us. Mr. Reddy, Relation Officers, great ambience. Whole core team, thank you so much, and every member who is present here till now. We are at present 180. That's a wonderful number, and many are there on the YouTube also. Now it's a question hour. Our three speakers are here with all of us. So one by one, you can unmute. I'll just only request, please be precise, because we have to take care of the time also. And I know many questions are there in your bucket. Please. Thank you so much. Abraham sir, I can request you if you can, your screen is still shared.
Okay, I'll unshare it.
Yeah.
Okay, right, just hang on.
Have everyone on the screen then. Thank you so much.
Hang on. I'm useless with all this gadgets.
Oh no, you are the,
human beings are far easier. Okay. Oh.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah, we have with us PVR Prasad. Yes, sir. Please unmute. Your question is for? Sir, unmute yourself. Yeah.
Good evening to all. Sir, thank you. Wonderful session. Number of webinars I participated, but this is a remarkable one. So very nice information I got, sir. But now my question is regarding the differently abled children. Countries like India, most of the people were living in villages, more than 80%. The students or children are living in the remote corners of the country. Here, the disabled people, differently abled people, I think may not get a number of benefits. Particularly, I think from UNESCO. What are the special programs that are going to be implemented by UNESCO for the sake of the disabled or differently abled children, those who are studying in the schools, particularly in countries like India? See, what are the special schemes that are going to be implementing? Please, I want that one, sir. I would like to make UNESCO authorities to take more steps to develop the disabled children, those who are living in ignored, that is remote areas of the country, sir. Thank you. That is my question. I think Madam may give answer to that question. Thank you, sir.
Any of the speaker can take up the answer.
I think Anamika is the best person for this because this is the field.
PVR sir, just repeat your question.
Ma'am, there are people who are living, most of the people living in villages in countries like India. So disabled children are also ignored in the remote areas of nook and corner of the country.
Yes.
So what type of special programs are going to be taken by UNESCO to improve the conditions of disabled children or differently abled children in the remote areas of the country? That is my question, ma'am.
Yes, Anamika ma'am. Got it?
Yeah.
Please.
Yes, see, before we get on to this, a beautiful question. And see, before we talk about this thing, what, UNESCO is going to do for the remote children, it needs to be started from us, First, it needs to be started from us. Like, the first thing is acceptance, then identification. As sir in my session had mentioned in between that, that identification is very important. First, we identify, we accept, then we can move on the resources, whatever is available. UNESCO had introduced many early education programs. Okay, those programs are followed. If we see in our school scenario in India, now the special education department has become a mandate thing. Every school needs to have a special education department where we have counselors, where we have special educators. Okay, if we are looking at programs where our children are accepted and given a way forward, for that we all need to work together first. That again comes with the reinforcement. Whatever programs are introduced in the school, those needs to be reinforced back at home and then take it further. So we need to really need to search out a lot. But for now, what I can speak on this when we talk about UNESCO is that early education programs, which we also call as early intervention programs, are already introduced in schools. And if we talk about the formal education, that is like board exams and all, relaxation, many relaxations are given. I would not say that is by UNESCO or what this. The education department has given, rebate in many things, and the correction pattern, the spelling errors can be ignored. Extra time is given. They can choose subjects differently. So that is one provision that India is following in most of the schools. It is there. If we talk about the remote area, say remote. When we talk remote area, that remote area is actually a remote area. There is no identification. Practically speaking, if you see something different, that is actually not called that, disability or anything. That's completely called as kuch hai problem, something like that. So, but, where we have some formal education, there definitely programs are there. But again, that acceptance to those programs also needed by the parents, and educators also need to actually imbibe things from those programs and work towards that. So I would like to conclude this with this, and this is a wonderful question. I think I need to go on to my research thing more, that what, how it is happening. So I think this webinar was very important for me as well. Sir, I think I'm able to answer you.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Anamika, I'll add up over there, Mr. PVR Prasad. We need to take the ownership. Why we are looking for special educator? Why I am not there? Why I am not touched with the pain of others? So when individually we all will be thinking on the same platform, every individual will be benefited. So every individual is important for us.
Ma'am, I would like to add one more thing. See, every child is different. Every child needs to be assessed differently. We cannot say that, if this person is not able to write, the other person will also not be able to write. Sometimes there's some challenge in the writing. I would not call it a problem. Problem means it's a very big thing. Challenge means it's a challenge for us to make that thing happen. So every child is different. That differently assessment is very important. Every child needs to be assessed differently. Working on every child is needs to be different, So I think it is a challenge for us. We need to take it and work towards it.
We need to find the solutions for that. No problems from today. Challenge, solution. We have Agnes Lambert Udo. She wants to say something. Please, Lambert, unmute yourself.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Dr. Navid. I hope I'm heard.
Okay.
All right. Please, I have just 2 questions. One goes to the second speaker, Dr. Anamika, concerning inclusive education. Right. We know that one of the ways we can make our students that have some special challenges to be carried along is to have them integrated with the normal students. But I still see it challenging in a way. For instance, if we have a child that is physically challenged, maybe from the legs, going with clutches, and then there is a lecture where perhaps the lecture venue is in a story building where the student has to climb up to attend the lecture with other students. How will we really say that that child can be carried along, thereby saying we have had an inclusive education or integrating that child in the same setting with the normal students? That's for Dr. Namika. Then for our the last speaker, Dr. Abraham, he talked about the brain. That I must commend his presentation as well. Thank you so very much, sir. Your presentation was fantastic. I must say that. Others also did very well, but I must say yours really captivated me. Sir, I want to find out, you talked about the brain, that the position of the brain could determine what and how a child learns. So my question is, does it really mean that the position of the brain makes the child to learn better? Is there any relationship between the positioning of the brain and the rate or the speed at which a child learns? That's my question, Dr. Abraham, directly to you. Thank you very much.
First, we'll take Anamika. Anamika, you please answer first question.
Yeah, ma'am, as you said about this physical challenge, see, this is where we need to be more sensitive, firstly, and if we have accepted the child, the way child is, then, that sensitization needs to be there, not only for us, for others as well, if we talk about school or college scenario, right? Just to share with you an example, what we have done in our school, we have appointed duty of the helpers, timetable wise, because if we have the timetable, we know, that child needs to be taken from one place to another at that particular time. That is where we need to sensitize people around us. We need to be more sensitive about it. Secondly, that is where that relaxation needs to be given. That if child is going to be 5 or 10 minutes late because of that physical disability. So that is one thing that, from my point of view, I can say that. And again, we need to be more forthcoming for this. Why to expect that somebody will come and help the child? Why can't we take the child in the wheelchair and take? Why do we need help for that? We can do it ourselves too, right? So, and secondly, definitely sometimes certain things, what we plan, they're not practically feasible. So we really, I understand that, because it happens with us as well. Every day making new strategies, failing with some, being successful with some. It's again a hit and trial, but again, we can make provisions. We can set the timetable. We can allot duties. Secondly, we can be more forthcoming. If nobody is there, I'm there. Fine. We can make the provision with that yes, the child can be late. Child will not be able to sustain that session for so long if it's a half an hour or 40-minute session. It's fine. It's absolutely fine. We, instead of expecting the child to be adjusted at our terms, we also come a little we can be a little more forthcoming and make that adjustment. So this is what we actually work like this. And this is what I think every day, the more we get into the topic, the more we get into the research, the more we get with the students, we make, there is no permanent strategy, ma'am. This is what in my 14 years of experience, this is what I've learned. There is nothing written strategy, which we can follow, because every child is different, so the strategy for every child needs to be worked on according to that child. So I hope I'm able to answer you what actually, you had asked for.
It's okay. It's okay. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Dr. Abraham, next question.
Yeah, I did not understand your question properly. I didn't understand what you mean by positioning of the brain. I don't think I said anything.
My question, no, you made mention of that the positioning of the brain can determine how a child learns. In one of your slides, I saw it. So my question is, does the position of the brain actually determines how the child learns and perhaps the speed at which the child learns?
I'm sorry, I'm not able to answer that question because I did not say anything about positioning of the brain. I think you got, and also I'm not a neurologist or a psychologist. So I think, can we skip that question?
I think it was about what she means probably is that some people used to say are right-handed and their left brain is strong.
Oh, that way. Okay.
Yeah, that's
okay, the brain gymnastic part. A thing is this, if you're right-handed, you tend, see, there is a brain is crosswired. So if you're right-handed, your dominant brain or the brain with the most synapses is the left lobe. Although we use both the lobes, but there is a dominance. So what we are saying is, if you encourage the children to use their non-dominant hand for at least non-unnecessary work, like brushing the teeth or something else, you tend to use your non-dominant hand more, and therefore more connections are established, and therefore brain as whole becomes more powerful. That's all. So basically, there are sessions like, Tai Chi, dancing, yoga, swimming. These are all using both hands equally well, and therefore that these are exercises that you can do to develop your brain much better. Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Abraham. We'll go to Grace. Hi, Grace. Unmute yourself, Grace.
Hello, everyone. Yeah, I want to appreciate all the presenters, but I want us to consider something. Don't you think we need a kind of cultural reorientation concerning special children? If you want to train teachers for special children, those who want to teach must not have a preconceived idea or belief that this person is special and maybe or I may not be able to help him. In developed nations, special children, some of them or most of them don't have issues like we have in developing nations or undeveloped nations. In America, for instance, children have a world of opportunity, like the one Udo was saying the other time, that is accessibility. Lecture halls are built with accessibility facilities. But in developing nations, virtually all institutions don't even provide accessibility for special children. And this, I think, is born out of the fact that people believe that they should sort themselves out. So I think there has to be a cultural reorientation that right from nursery and primary school, you let the children know that whether you are special or you are not special, you are able to integrate and learn together, so that as they grow up and they want to become teachers of special children, they don't have that preconceived idea in their brain that these ones cannot learn, this one can learn. And I think international organizations can help us do that, especially in developing nations, so that there has to be a curriculum that will be designed to let children know right from onset that whether you are challenged or you are not challenged, you can all learn together. So that when you become a teacher, you don't have it at the part of your brain that this one is special, may not be able to learn this or whatever. That children, all of them, they have to be integrated in the class. Can you hear me?
Wonderful, wonderful sharing. And Amika, you want to add something here? So what Grace is saying, that there is no like challenge or unchallenged, they should be integrated together. That is more important.
Absolutely, ma'am. I completely agree with this. And I think that is what I wanted. I could not conclude it the way you have said it now. Actually, instead of talking, being inclusive, I think we really need to be integrated. Yes. Things needs to be integrated so that we all are at the same platform. Every child needs, is accepted the way, he or she is. So that integration is very important. And thank you for helping me conclude my session now, that let's work towards integration instead of focusing towards inclusivity.
And we can do integration by interdisciplinary approach.
Absolutely, because yeah, ma'am, I would like to just take 2 more minutes on this because I wanted to speak on it. That interdisciplinary education, very, very important, because as I mentioned last time that it is every child is different. Every child needs to be assessed differently. So we really can't say that one child is having this challenge, the other will also have this challenge, and every day we are finding different strategies. So we really need to, that identification is very important, and that is how we can introduce this interdisciplinary education, because not necessarily if one thing is working for one child, that would work for every one, So that is that interdisciplinary education is very, very important, because somewhere the challenge is with the formal education. Am I right, Navneet ma'am?
Yes. So we will find the PSB of the child. The child wants music, home science, dance. So he can opt whatever he wants. So that
platform is very important. And that we can only create that platform. Exactly. So this is actually, this platform was wonderful to actually create that awareness, so that we can spread this awareness everywhere, that we need to find platform. We need to give platform to everyone. I would not say for children with special needs or with mainstream children, for everyone.
Thanks, Grace. Thanks, Grace, for adding up that. We have Ido Rinlin. I don't know how to pronounce this. Please, Ido Rinlin, please unmute and tell about yourself.
Good afternoon, everyone.
What is the name? Please speak.
Idoreyin Johnson.
Idoreyin. Okay.
Idoreyin, yes, Idoreyin Johnson.
Idoreyin Johnson. Yes, please. Your question.
Thank you. Okay, mine is not exactly a question, though I may come to land with a question. The challenges associated with inclusive education is something that has to be looked into, as much as emphasis is laid on inclusive education. Lambert talked about a student who is unable to walk and maybe walking with clutches. And to me, that's not really a factor, because the classmates, for instance, when I did a program at University of Nigeria, Nsukka, I had a classmate who was visually impaired. And every time I had to go to school, I would always check up on her to make sure that she would attend lectures with me. That was something I was not used to in the primary and high school, but I had to learn that because education at that level became inclusive. But then again, what would a teacher do if he or she has about 40 minutes as standardized class time to teach a particular class with students of varying learning styles and abilities. I think that's the part that any writer or teacher should be able to figure out a panacea for handling such, because in Nigeria, for instance, where I'm speaking from, it is a standard that a class lasts for 40 minutes and a double class period would be 80 minutes. And that time does not allow any teacher to work with the possibilities of accommodating the different learning styles of the learners. And in some cases, you can't even work with multimedia because you don't have the enabling environment to do so. So I expect that further writings in the area of integration or what's the word now? Bringing students of different learning styles together should accommodate this, and possibly proffer solutions, reliable and very practicable solutions as regards how to manage the situation, going by the issue of time and the other factors that surround it. I raise my case, please.
Thanks, Johnson, for sharing. I just wanted to ask you one thing. You beautifully explained how in Nigeria you are working with these kind of students, and 40-minute special period you have given. So is this an individual class or it is a group class?
If I understand you, what you mean is if it's a one student class or a collection of a number of students, right?
Collection of mainstream students and the special child, or it is only for special child individually?
Okay, no, not individually. In fact, nobody has a special time for a special child individually. They are collectively put in one classroom and are taught under the same learning environment. Every condition is constant, and they are expected to learn at the same frequency, and a lot of factors that just make it impossible to achieve positive expected outcomes.
I have a question. If all are learning together with the same syllabi, same curriculum, same level, is the child comfortable to grasp everything along with others? Because in the beginning, he must be finding a lot of problems over there.
Well, the truth is, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, because we follow a different system. So I'm trying to learn from you how you pick up the things. Because what we do in our curriculum, we have special educators, and for some time the special child has to go to a special educator. So he is given a different kind of assignments according to his capability. The way Grace has said, we do integration of curriculum. But sometime in a day, he goes to a normal class also, where he is intermingling with other students. So we have two different ways of working with this kind of children. So how you are saying that you are combining in one stream only. So is it possible for that child to cope up with the same level, same frequency, everything in the same 40 minutes class?
Well, it's in reality absolutely impossible. Yes. In fact, that's one demerit of the inclusive learning or inclusive classroom, so to say. Because in Nigeria, where you don't have that inclusiveness, you have a special school for a special child. Okay. And then you have a normal school for a normal child. Those curriculums are arranged to accommodate the learning styles and the peculiarities of the learners. But when you bring these two different learners together, the challenge learner and the normal learner, so to say, and you use the same curriculum, not accommodating the peculiarities of the learner that is challenged. Maybe the visually impaired, the auditory impaired and so on, it becomes a problem for the students with issues to learn at the same pace with the normal learners. And that becomes a serious challenge in the inclusiveness, but where they are taught differently, whatever issues a problematic learner or a learner with any issue has, the teacher will be able to accommodate it. Bringing them together sets a different set of issues that need to be handled before one expects the students, the learners, to grasp what they are being taught, and of course, the actual achievement of laid down instructional objectives.
Wonderful, wonderful. Fabio, what we do in US in this kind of system? If you can share how we have the curriculum-based strategies in US.
Well, we definitely have accommodations for that. It starts with, for example, in my department, I find the right software and the right ergonomically fit situations, fit systems that will be there in the different classrooms that the disabled student will be using, okay? And if I may, if I understand it right also, I believe another perspective that Ms. Lambert was talking about when it came to working with clutches and things like that was the physical limitations for the students to get to where they need to go. Yes. So in this case here, we have also retrofitted our old buildings, starting from the parking lot, where instead of steps, we have ramps, where when the student comes in, we have handicap settings. When the student come in, they park at those handicap settings, and then they have the ramps that if they're in wheelchair, they could go. If they're in crutches, they could easily go. And then, of course, we've also retrofitted our I'm sorry. We've also retrofitted our elevators to accommodate that. So I believe that is how I understood that. Then from the technology perspective, okay, then I find out what each disabled student needs, and then I make sure that those facilities are available in the classes. And then we also have awareness to get people to know, to understand. During registration, when students come in with the different disabilities that are identified, we make it known to the instructors and everybody involved what they are going to need to have in place. That is the
key point. Every stakeholder needs to be involved. Then only
exactly. It takes everyone, yes, to do that. So first of all, it's identifying. So we have a situation in place where we encourage the parents and the students to identify themselves and let us know what those limitations are, so that we could react accordingly.
Wonderful.
So
wonderful.
That is what I understood when she said about the crutches, the getting to where the student needs to be.
Venue, yes.
Yeah.
That's very okay. It's just very unfortunate that in the developing countries, such facilities might not be there for those set of students to be catered for. You talk about the elevator, you talk about the arms, whatever you call it, the structuring, the buildings and all of that.
Yes.
It's very rare in developing countries. I agree with you.
Lambert, I'll tell you, you are truly, I have 2 students in my school who has this kind of problem. Every time they look for nanny, they look for some support. And when the support is not provided, and when they have their favorite class, and when the class is missed, oh my God, you will find the tears in their eyes, in their heart, because they're missing something big. And that is something which touches us. So
the other day, I took a trip to the University of Central Florida, which I just took a trip to find out how they deal with disabled situations or things like that. I also found out that they have specialized programs for them, and in addition, they recruit people. Okay, like they could be note takers. Okay, or they could sit with them and kind of translate things to them as the teacher is talking. So they pay people to do these things. So it's a matter of also resources, like in the so-called third world countries or whatever, those things are not there.
Resources are important.
The resources
I believe
big problem.
sensitization of peers is very, very important. If no resources there, but your buddy or your peer is sensitized towards yourself, then he will help you out. I think Dr. B. Swati wants to add something here. Yes, ma'am, please.
Yes, ma'am. Like as you were talking about the special child and with the combination of the students with the normal children, I think more or less maybe the special child will be bullied more. That is the basic reason why the normal child would not like to mingle with the special child, because the special care has to be taken to such kind of children. I, being a mother of a child who is on spectrum, autism spectrum, so I've really seen my son, how he was struggling, like the kind of bullying he had to face. So that is where I just wanted to add the point. Maybe mingling
awareness should be created.
The reason.
Awareness. Other students should be.
Dr. Amaka, please mute yourself. Dr. Amaka. Yes, Dr. B. Swati, please continue.
Sorry.
Yeah, that is where I was just asking, maybe like you were suggesting with the same curriculum, and even sir was saying that in the same classroom he could manage with the students. So my question is like how he could tackle with this situation.
Anybody wants to answer here?
Finish education type of education. Hello.
Thank you.
Hello.
Yeah, please, Anamika, you can continue.
Yes, when it comes to the bullying part, like she said, I was exposed to the situation where something like that happened. So I took the initiative to go to the administration. Okay, I got involved very actively. I went to the administration and let the administration know, and then I identified the source of the bullying. Okay, so when it was in the forefront, that was quelled immediately. Okay, so it's a matter of, because sometimes the children do not understand that when it comes to an autistic child, that their sensory systems are very, very fragile, and they pick up so many things. Even little things like music could really irritate them, or the way you say something could irritate them, touching them could irritate them. So the person doing this not knowing is the issue here. So I got involved, got the administration involved, and then it was passed on to the individual, so it stopped. So it's a matter of intervening and getting to do something about it in order to make sure that it's taken care of. So that is how I was involved in a situation like that, where bullying was a factor, like the doctor was saying.
Fabio, I agree. Bullying is going on. Lot of inhuman thing is going on. Everything is going on. Now, this depends on the institution. What is the culture of your institution? The one who is heading needs to sensitize this among everyone, because you need to set some rules and regulation for your organization. Maybe you're in college, maybe you're in school, but if you have some rules and regulation and everybody has to follow that, then I believe that what Dr. B. Swati children have faced, maybe that will be reduced. I believe so.
And then sensitization needs to be a part of our culture.
Yes.
So that is why a lot of reinforcement, everyday reinforcement is very important, because not to bully and not to be bullied, both things need to be reinforced at the same time.
Yes.
Yeah, because we are only talking about children with special needs, but it happens with mainstream children as well. So actually sensitization really needs to be a part of our culture, our institution, and overall, it should be there. And again, if we just see these, if we get into the realistic approach of it, see, everybody will not be able to have that kind of values also, no matter how much you try to sensitize. So it is also, we really, really need to empower our own children to face it, not to bear it, but how to raise a voice against it and how to make it, audible to the admin department or wherever they're listened, So it is very, very important to actually make them also empowered about the thing that it is just not acceptable.
On this note, I pay gratitude to each and every person present over here, Team ICERT core team, for conducting such an informative, influential workshop where really we are getting so much new challenges and solutions we need to discuss. So I believe it is the most important, the teacher, the facilitator, who needs to be imbibed with lot of skills, because the teacher is a person who creates human beings and instills care, value, respect, and love in them. So they put in the minds of all their children the right meaning and significance of her life on earth. It may be mainstream child or a special child, but he needs to understand the value of his being over there. What is his purpose of life over here? So they strive to make a difference in every student's life. Our first speaker beautifully said that mind, body, soul, all three are important, very, very important. Corona has gone, we have seen how doctors, nurses, teachers, police officers in every country, how beautifully they have totally came out of things, and day and night how they have worked for the survival of others. That is humanity. That is being humane. So if we understand these skills, I think this world will become a beautiful place. And I want to congratulate every member present here of ICERT globally, that yes, we are here for a cause. Yes, we are going to learn something new and we are going to give that to this world. And whatever we are giving back, it is coming back to us only. So let's start spreading this love, humanity, and peace among everyone. Thank you. On this, I pay my gratitude to everyone present over here. It's really a wonderful forum. Thank you so much. Thank you all the speakers who are still here. Dr. Abraham is still over here. Anamika ma'am, thank you so much. Dr. Koshka is still there. Thank you so much. With this note, please fill your, it's not there. I think many people have written about the attendance. We have already marked it. Your presence itself is the attendance. Thank you so much. Have a great day, night. I don't know which country you are. Have a great meetings. And so see you next webinar when it's coming over there. Please everyone be there. I'll request again on last note, please come on the video, at least face to face. We need to have the connect before we wave the hands. I can see PVR Prasad, Grace, Sid backup. Your name is not there, but you are always very active participant. Aisha Bashir, Anamika is there. Dilpreet, Dr. Abraham, Dr. B. Swati is always there. Thank you so much. Great to have Fabio. Wonderful discussion with you.
By the way,
yeah.
Can I say something real quickly?
Please.
The first speaker said something about outreach of education or something like that to the masses, right? There's a program with MIT, with World Peace University in India, of which I teach every 2 nights a week, okay? So there are things out there that people could get involved in to get education to the masses if they so choose to. So I just wanted to let everybody know that
Fabio, you can do one thing, put that link in the chat box so everybody can see, and those who get the opportunity, we can always.
Yes, I can. What is happening is that if you are interested, you send me the information. I can give you the invite so that when there are courses, they will send you things based on your expertise, and then you could register and teach. I started designing and teaching Internet of Things, and then I taught MIS. Right now, I'm teaching computer vision. So they are there, it's just finding them. Everybody knows who MIT is. So very, very reputable institution.
Wonderful.
I'm working with a World Peace University.
Such a great platform by ICERT, where we can connect with each other with, we may be very far sitting from each other, but technology and this beautiful platform of ICRT has brought us so close. Thank you, everyone. Anybody wants to add up something? Then we'll.
Ma'am, I would like to give a concluding remark.
Please, Dilpreet ma'am. You were such a wonderful moderator of the day.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I would like to conclude today's session by saying that education is the most powerful weapon which we can use to change the world. Change is inevitable, but transformation is a conscious choice. So transformative changes in education can lead to success stories, can lead to new learnings, as they are the secret. So the secret lies not in fighting the old, but the building the new one, which we here today in today's session has built up. So today's session was the very enlightening one, and I would like to thank ICRT team for providing such a great platform to all the learners and making me a part of it as a moderator. Thank you so much, ma'am.
God bless you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone. See you soon.
If possible, next time.
I really wish that offline programs come and we all are meeting there in different countries on different platforms.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye.
That was a good one. Bye-bye. Till next time.
Yeah, bye, Lambert. Wonderful participation of yours.
Thank you.
Thanks, Grace.
Thank you. Where is Dr. Sandeep? Where is Dr. Sandeep?
Bye from Nigeria.
Dr. Sandeep Kumar.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. It's my pleasure. We'll be meeting next time. Thanks, Parimukta.
Hope to see you again soon.
Anytime, Falate. Thanks.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thanks, ma'am.
Thanks, ma'am.
Truly thanks to ICRT.
Thank you, everyone.
No, thank you.